Hello, my name is Saltbot. I am Kismet's co-host for this evening. Welcome to Kismet's stream and thank you for dropping by once again. Tonight it's time to get back to PC gaming with the Kismet Overburdened with Love PC. Thanks to all of you, we can take this stream to another level. Let me open up the vault door and let's go inside. Kismet is waiting for us.
Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. That's right, I'm streaming during the day. If you didn't know, obviously you know because you're here watching my stream. Welcome everybody, welcome. We're ready to play some games. Now I had it listed incorrectly on my thing, as I do when I'm doing this stuff really late at night. I had it listed as They Are Billions today. It's actually City Skylines. Had it right in the photo but not right in the listing, so I updated the listing. So we're going to play some City Skylines today. It has been a while. Hopefully we can get back into it here. I do remember last time we were talking about getting a great start in City Skylines. And we had gone in and we had tried some different things, and we're going to take a look at that city, but we're actually going to start a brand new city, and we're going to try to set it up correctly, at least the way that I'm setting up, very straight and square kind of setup at the very beginning. We're going to let it run the whole time, see how far we can get with that new city, and think about some things beforehand before we get too far. Never forget that you can always start again and reset in City Skylines. One of the things I like about it. I got so obsessed with that beginning of City Skylines that I would just start over and over and over and over until I got a really nice beginning where I would very quickly accelerate my city, and then it would kind of get momentum and then go from one to the next to the next, and then bam, you're rocking and rolling. You're just absolutely crushing it in City Skylines. And I'll show you that again, but this time we're going to make room for all of the things that we want to add way, way later in the playthrough. So very, very cool. So hello to all the epic peeps in the chat. We got Josie hanging out, of course, my awesome mod backing me up today. I appreciate that big time. There we go. We got Dark Angel backing up as well. Make sure to coordinate with the other mods first. There, Dark Angel. Appreciate the backup, though. Dark Angel, of course, my mega supporter. Show some love in the chat. Lots of love and respect for my mods in the chat. Again, see Kellum all in there hanging out. I guess we're ready to rock and roll. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to play some games. Let's just dive right into it. Let's go. Let's go, everybody. All right, bam. Yeah, I like my little transitions. They're fun. I'm down here. Hello. I'm small again. Why am I so small again? I've been updating all my stuff. I am constantly iterating on my interfaces and all that stuff. I love how my interface integrates in with, you can barely tell it's actually not part of the game, down below there, but I have some other stuff on the way as well. I'm constantly always evaluating the stream, saying how can I make it better? How can I make this stream better than the one before? So we're going to try to make this best stream ever number. I always forget the number by the time I get to my intro. Best stream ever number 302. So we're going to dive right in, have some fun here. Now, as you can see, I've got my different zones here. I've got my yellow zones, of course, which are industrial. We got the residential green, and then, of course, the blue, which is the commercial. A lot of fun. Commercial! It makes me think of that show. Oh, I forgot it already. Fifth Element. Fifth Element, where dude's like, commercial! Makes me think of that every time. So we're going to go in and we're going to do that. Now, we're also going to consider how we're going to do our footpaths. Notice how I've got some footpaths that are crossing over, and I'm leaving this kind of gap in the middle here so that I can do footpaths. Way down here, I've got my my various utilities. I've got my brain freeze, my school stuff here. School, we've got a park, and we've got we left some area here so that we can, of course, put a path all the way down. Now, one of the cool things about paths is that also they will connect to the park itself, these footpaths. And they can go through, end up in the footpath, and then keep going in between. So they don't have to walk all the way around or get in their car and walk all the way around. If they're trying to get to a bus station or if they're trying to go to school or whatever, they can literally just right down and cross the street and go that way. And I like to have the footpaths as well. So we want to have, see, we've got a nice footpath here where they can get in on the footpath from the park itself. And so we want them the ability to, from no matter where they are, get onto that footpath and then also be able to, get on there, cross over the street without having to walk. And let's go ahead and start the city up. And let's go ahead and see how that foot traffic is going. So I always consider foot traffic. Foot traffic is vital to having them not drive their cars as much. Also, you see I've got bus that comes in, grabs a bunch of peeps. Get them all getting in the bus. Another bus right behind there to get even more peeps. So once this one is loaded, bam, next one is right there to get some more, because this is a very heavy traffic zone, obviously my high school here. And then they're going to pick them up and then they're going to run them off to various people as part of my bus system. We'll get to metro systems and all those other systems as well at some point in our playthrough. But right now you can see I've also got some subterranean. And if we go like this, go out a bit here to our roads. There we go. We go like this, we can see we've got some subterranean roads that kind of look like a mustache. Or the branches of a tree, I guess. Going back and forth. So we have some underground freeways that are actually, it's coming in, going underground, and going all the way across here, which would allow us to expand this whole area, do a whole bunch of fun industrial stuff and all of that. And then way over here, of course, we've got our various utilities that we want to eventually get rid of, right? This is, we've got the trash dump and, of course, the cemetery way over there out of the way so that when I need to get rid of them, I can go ahead and turn them on to empty. Then they will empty them, and then I will get rid of them and then not use them in the later gameplay. Because you don't want those in the later gameplay because they fill up and then you have trouble with it. So again, the very beginning of the game is vitally important. So this is what we started doing last time. We got to about here. Now what we need to do is we need to think about how we're going to put our footpaths down, because I really like footpaths. I've been experimenting. As you can see, we've got some footpaths here that actually elbow out and make it so people can go and cross up and over. So they go up here, they go over there, but they also can cross over to this side if we want them to. We can go ahead and grab our footpaths. Actually, they're over here. Grab our footpaths. Again, get quite obsessed with making this just so. And so we can go ahead and do something like this. So if they want to cross the street, they don't have to use the light and cross the street like this. We can go ahead and just give them the ability to get up on there. Now, I also have the ability to make it much shorter, so it doesn't have to go as 4. It'll only go 4, so as you'll see in a second here, they will just start using those footbridges to cross like this. Now, also, one of the cool things about these footbridges that I did learn is that you can actually go cross that way, too, which is really cool. So you only really need to have one cross, right? And then they can just go straight across in that little footbridge. Now, let's go ahead and speed it up so people start to take it. There we go. Look, they never have to actually cross the road, which, of course, makes the roads go faster because they're not waiting for people to cross the road all the time. People will just take the footbridges, and they use the footbridges a lot, as you can see. This guy's going over that way. See, so they're based on where they're going, of course, is where you want those footbridges to end up. And that's what we want to do. Basically, use these footbridges to reduce traffic. Now, traffic is usually the hardest thing in any kind of simulation game. I find in this game, at some point, it becomes Armageddon. Becomes traffic Armageddon at some point. So we got to watch out for that. Armed Poop. I just wanted to pop in and say thanks for your blog post on Stream Elements about developing your stream persona. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I do love to write those blog posts big time. I do like to go in and do that. I'm asked from time to time from Stream Elements to put my take on stuff, and hey, I don't mind doing it. It's actually a lot of fun. I think it helps the people who are struggling, who are thinking about becoming a streamer or may have been a streamer for a while, and just gives them another tool in their arsenal to try to get closer to that partnership, try to get closer to living that dream like I'm doing, and that's playing games all day and hanging out with an awesome community like mine. So that's the least I can do. The least I can do is to help you peeps out to go out there and have some fun. So there we go. It was very insightful. Thank you, thank you. Well, thanks for coming in the stream. I appreciate you hanging out. Again, my name is Kismet. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. I do play a lot of various games. I love building games. I play some Fallout 4. Got 2,000 hours in that. Play some They Are Billions. City Skylines. Playing some Subnautica. Getting very addicted to that game. Very, very fun. And, of course, 7 Days to Die. Another amazing and addicting game. So again, we want to make room for this stuff here, right? So we can run this along this edge. Now, in heavy trafficked zones, I do like to have kind of a four-way entrance, right? So and then we're just tinkering with this, and we're going to reset here in just a second. But I do like to have a four-way entrance, meaning something like this. So instead of having it like this, right, where you have it all four ways, you can also just have it where it's across as well. So they have basically a way to cross that way. Now, if you try to do it this way, by the way, it'll take the other one out. So, so there we go. So they can go up, over. They have a whole bunch of different ways they can go. And we need to think about that at the very beginning. At the very beginning, instead of zoning it the way we did, we can zone it so that it doesn't cost us a lot to come back and fix it later. I find the fastest way to cause your city to fail is to have to rezone stuff. Rezone stuff too dramatically, and bam, you will not have enough cash to function in that zone. I removed that park there for a second so I can go ahead and build it somewhat like that. So if you were going to have the ultimate kind of intersection, that would be it, right? And watch how the people really utilize it. Look how many people are coming and going right there, right? Now, that would be a great example. A lot of people are coming to go there. Great example also way down here by the school here, right? So lots of people coming and going from this particular area, and they want to cross through here. Now, this person is crossing through here, crossing over here, running down the street like so, crossing that way, cutting back, and then going. So that's not very good. That's not very good. We don't want them to have to cut all the way back and go over there. We really want this to be able where they can come through and then end up here. So we should have left a bit of a wider gap here. And again, once you play through and you're like, oh man, I should have, right? Feel free to start again. Start again, or you can just go and get like tons of cash like I have, 171,000 right now, very early in the game. And you can just bulldoze it or move it and then readjust it that way too. But I like to start again from the beginning because it allows me to kind of build that momentum as I go. And then I don't have to move stuff. Doesn't cause me cash in the long run. Try to be as efficient as possible. So those are our goals there. So we need to think about, we want to leave that extra corner. We want to leave an extra gap in the center. We also got to watch out when we upgrade our roads. As well. And then, of course, watch out for when we are adding our utilities. Right? So we've got to keep all of that in mind while we're starting, as well as watch out for when we are, of course, adding freeways in here. Notice how I've got the this freeway underground and this freeway not. Right? When they're coming in, I want them to be able to get to in my industrial like it's easy mode. Right? Look at this, easy mode, coming in and out. And as they need to leave, they actually go up here to this road. As you can see, I've got several entrances to the exit here, and you can see them go underground and get out of it. This way it doesn't disturb my traffic, my ground level traffic, which is one of the biggest things, biggest mistakes I find that most people do is they connect this right next to this one. And then that causes all this massive cross traffic there that really screws up your entrances and exits. Don't do that. Don't do it. I have learned that the hard way. All right, let's go ahead and start again. We're going to go ahead and quit out of here to main menu. And we're going to start again from scratch. Now, I actually, luckily, and you can see we've got it started here. I actually saved it right at the very beginning, as I do, so in case I want to restart. Right, here's the road start. Here's a bit of some roads that I created. So I do like to save it in sequence as I go. But I'm going to go ahead and do this one here. And the reason why I call it RR is the name of the map. Bam, here we go. So we're going to start it off. Hey, what's up, Pimp? Thanks for hanging out in the stream. Appreciate it. Again, I'm glad you enjoyed that Stream Elements article. If you really do like it, make sure to hit that clap button on there. That does help me out a lot. Share it with your friends if you can. Retweet it out. Show some love to this as well. I actually have, on speaking of Stream Elements, amazing guys over there, by the way. Make sure to go over there. If you're a streamer, that's the first thing you want to do. You want to go get Stream Elements. Forget all those other programs. Forget having 25 bots running like I used to do. It was just like a nightmare to keep that running. And then since I switched over them, everything runs a crazy ton smoother. But I have a very advanced stream. Like I have Dragon Chalice going on. It even gets on fire when you guys crush that sub button. It'll actually catch on fire over there, Dragon Fire, which I think is super cool. So lots and lots of stuff. So this game is super, super awesome. Navidad said, this is like SimCity on steroids. Yes. Now, the coolest thing about this game is the fact, and I played all the SimCities, by the way. I played the SimCities like when it came out. I had a separate computer that used to run the original SimCity. That's all. Me and a bunch of people at work, we would just have a separate computer that we bought for one purpose and one purpose only. And that's to let our city run while we were working, which is pretty awesome because you check in your city. How's my city doing? Oh, okay, it's doing good. And we would do that all day. It was pretty funny. I know I'm a cool boss. What can I say? Yeah, I used to let people play games at work. As long as they're getting their work done, what do I care? Hey, go for it. Yeah, so we would do SimCity a lot. And I played this SimCity online game, which is pretty great. I like some of the technology they came out with, but the cities are too small, right? So if you look at this city, right, it's just this big. And you're like, Kismet, well, that's kind of not big. Well, guess what? As you expand, you can actually expand into all of these and become one giant mega city later on as you hit those milestones along the way. Now, this is called Lakefield right now, and you can see it's got various things in it. It's got plane connections. It's got highway connections, but it doesn't have train and doesn't have ship. Well, I just happen to know right over here, this one has both ship and train connections over there, which we'll get to in a bit. So we're going to just start over again, and this time I'll go a little bit faster than I went last time. And again, I need to think about and coordinate that stuff right away. Now, the first thing I do is I put a road down, and then I delete that road. Meaning I put one of these roads down, 2-lane road, down, as small as possible, and then I delete it, and then I save the game. The reason why I do that is because then it opens up the rest of the roads that I can do. And the one I like to start with is the gravel road. And first thing I'm gonna do is think about, okay, how am I gonna do my water? How am I gonna do my my water, and how am I gonna do my irrigation? Because that's always the same every time. Always the same every time. So I want to run it straight, right? Straight from where I'm started here. And again, I want to start my my exit and my entrance in different ways. So I need to go out just a little bit. Again, we've got this road, so I'm going to go out just a little bit until I hit this first connection. And we're going to push it a little bit further this way this round. And then I'm going to go ahead and just run it way over here, right? This road's pretty cheap, but it's $17.80. So let's go ahead and not get too crazy, right? We want to go ahead and think about that this is going to be our primary road, right? So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that's not going to actually determine my road. My road's actually going to go straight, and I'm just going to make it go like this, right? Another thing that's going to go nice and straight is my my piping, right? So my piping is going to go right down the middle of the road, and I'm going to go ahead and start it right about here, right? Because that's going to cover the road that I'm going to use, and we'll go ahead and upgrade it later. But that piping is literally going to run straight down. I know that's going to be like that. So I already got a set feature that I know I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and run that piping straight down like that. I'm going to put my water right here as straight as I can. Bam. I don't have any sound. Oh, I got my sound off. Hold on. You guys can't hear the sound. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and run that like that. Ooh, man, that's good sound. Yes, let me turn my microphone down over here. There we go. Okay, so we've got that run right there. And then we also want to run an outlet for our sewage. Now, obviously, I'm going to offset it. The cool thing also about running your piping first is your piping actually tells you the width. If you do this, what's going to happen, or especially this is really bad. If you do this, it's going to overlap with the water. So the water is actually going to take up all of that sewage. So you want it to be where it's going down river. Now, on the river here, you can see the arrows, which means it's going to flow in this direction. So I don't want to overlap it like this because it could cause that sewage to go back in there. So I'm going to create a nice gap. And when I start to expand it, I'm going to expand the sewage in that direction. And then the water, water in that direction, sewage in that direction. No, that direction. I'm reversed for you. For me, that's the way. But for you, it's the reverse. All right. We're going to go ahead and throw this up here. Bam. And then we're going to go ahead and connect these together. There we go. Now create 2 lines, both the water and the sewage. So that's a given every time. That's a given every time. I know that's going to be like that. So pretty awesome. Another thing that's a given in every playthrough that I do is I put the power right by the entrance. And the reason why I put the power right by the entrance is because I want the trucks to be able to get to it so they don't get obstructed. And then I can't import the oil, which is what makes my city run because I'll have no power. So if you put it way off over here, well, those trucks got to drive all the way out there. Of course, there is a connection on the other side I could run it from. But trucks got to drive all the way out there to drop off that fuel. We don't want to do that. Also, in the very beginning here, I've got these 4-lane roads. Now I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this road right here and right here. The reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to put my utility here. Whenever I put a utility down, I always think long run. Am I going to have a big road there? And I am. I'm going to have a big road there eventually. I'm going to upgrade that road, and I don't want to have to move my power later on, right? I don't have to move that power later on, so I want to upgrade it now. But don't upgrade your roads too much, or you won't have enough cash to survive. Now, as we go along, we're going to also use our zoning. Now, our zoning is going to help us in a big way. We're going to use our industrial zoning. Now, you can just do this where you just zone it and off you go, but I like to have precise control. So I'm going to use this kind of second tool here called the marquee. And I'm going to think about, okay, I'm going to have footpath along there, right? So you can kind of spec it out in your thing, right? So if you've got 4 across, and then you want to go ahead and say put in a metro station, boom, there's a metro station. You're, oh, wait a minute. I also want to put in a footpath. So there you go. So you can spec it out visually and before you actually start the entire game up of what you want to do. A great way to make sure that you're pre-planning for a lot of your stuff. And you don't have to be this all in, but I love to do this kind of stuff. It really makes me think about how I'm building my city and whatnot. Now, when I go to add the road, by the way, the road, if I go to add this road here, right now, get out of my upgrade. Oops, wrong button. If I add this road right now, it's actually not going to be in the right spot, right? So if I add it like this, it's not going to be the actual road because when I go to upgrade it later, it's actually going to be like this. So I actually put it in the correct spot, but in the very beginning, there's going to be a gap there, which is going to be an extra gap over here for that upgrade later on. So I'm thinking about my upgrades later on. Now, I'm also going to upgrade this road, so I need to think about that upgrade, right? So if I upgrade that road, see, it actually cuts in by 1 square into what I'm building. So visually, we need to think about that very, very early on. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do the other thing. We're going to upgrade that road, etc. Now, doing this is not too bad in the very beginning, but it will slow down your overall gameplay because what will happen is you won't have enough cash to keep up with your city. But we're going to go ahead and start a little U-shaped thing there because eventually we're going to put our other utilities there, fire and police right there. As well. I like to put it by the industrial. I'll have industrial down here. So again, you can visualize all of that stuff in the long run. So let's go ahead and say we'll have some industrial there, industrial here, right? And we'll go over by 4 because we want to have that kind of deal like that, or you can just kind of fill the whole thing in, whichever. And then that's, oops, that's actually 5. Let's take that out. And then we'll say, okay, metro station here. And then we'll say, okay, there's going to be a footpath like that, right? Or you can say, oh, well, I'll have the footpath come up to the metro station like so. And then go around the metro station, which means you're going to cut into this. But also, if you have some side footpaths, then you're going to have side footpaths like this, right? As I take this out, side footpath. Now, I can visualize this in my head. If you're having trouble visualize this, that's okay. That's okay. Now, of course, look what happens. Then I have to move my industrial over by one, right? Now, I'm more like that, right? So I'm leaving room for my footpaths so I can cross over and whatnot. And then also, I can cut into this edge to bring my footpaths down to the right and then down this way so they connect together perfectly. Now, also what you can do is you can inset your metro stations so that they are in one, meaning you can go ahead and create kind of like a little road there, or you can create a side road, whatever you want to do to create those metro stations. But I like to have them along the outside, along with bus stations. I like to put them right where the metro stations are. So if they're getting off the bus, bam, they end up in the metro station, which I think is pretty fun. Pretty fun. Cities are way too small, says Navo. Yeah, they're way too small in SimCity, which is a big bummer, which is why City Skylines is so great. So again, we're visualizing it ahead of time. So we're going to have industrial down here, a little bit more industrial up here, and then commercial up there. So it's very, very difficult to visualize it sometimes, especially when you've already got an upgrade to your road here. Now, I can un-upgrade the road as well. I can go back and say, oh, wait a minute, now I want this to be this now. Right? So I can figure it out and then reverse that upgrade. Now, again, I got the whole game on pause so that I don't have it running and it's costing me money while I'm sitting here fooling around. Now, watch my cash over here on the right. I've got 37,730. I'm going to de-upgrade it. Notice how my cash doesn't go back up again. Very important to realize that that money is actually gone now. And if I go to upgrade it again, it actually cost me money again. So very important to know when it's costing you money. So if you're just willy-nilly upgrading and de-upgrading, which I think is kind of sucky, I think it should give you your thing back. Now, here's the funny thing, is if you go in and you upgrade this road, like so, and you destroy the road, you actually get the money back if you destroy the road and then re-put the road down, right? So you're getting, it's actually really helping you a lot, actually, if you destroy it as opposed to upgrade and de-upgrade. Very important to know, very important to get that cash, to save that cash. Munchies coming in, dropping the Dragon Hammer, crushing that follow button, becoming part of the Kismet Army. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for hanging out. We're having lots of fun playing a bunch of variety of games here on the stream. A lot of fun. Thanks to Space Otter Splash, Captain Staples, Kellum Mall, as well as Gonzo TV, and of course Josie. Wow, you guys are crushing those hosts today. I don't know why my host thing is not popping up. I'm having a little bit of problem with my alerts, but we'll see how it goes today. I did hear the Dragon Hammer at least. It should come up and be telling me about my hosts. I don't know what's going on with my host function, but I know they are working on their stuff over there, so we'll see how it goes. So again, you can go ahead and plan it out ahead of time. Think about how you're going to offset it. Now, in my case, I'm actually going to run the things, the footpaths, like this, right? So the footpath is going to go 4 in this direction, 4 in the other direction. Now, of course, this is going to be upgraded, right? So this part right here doesn't count. So it's more like it's going to be like this. Let me take this out. It's going to be like that. It's going to be 4 this way, 4 that way, and then the same thing here. Take this out, 4 this way. Might as well take all that out because that's not going to be industrial because it's not going to be up against the road. So I'll take that out of there. So this is how that's going to be. We're going to have a footpath going along this way. So we'll just use industrial to help us visualize, right? So footpath going by, and then say metro station right there. So we've visualized it now in our head. We know what our offsets are, and then we can appropriately offset all of our stuff along the whole entire line, right? Now, also, I've got an upgrade here, so it kind of sometimes makes it difficult. If you're going to just make it exactly the same in the multiple rows, you can do it a non-upgrade if you want, because this whole entire row here is going to move up as well. So you're going to have this weird gap in the very beginning in this particular part. It's you're going to have to just deal with it. Deal with it as it goes. Because I'm going to actually, when I upgrade the road, I'm actually going to take out a bunch of my industrial, take out a bunch of my stuff as I go, as I'm visualizing that. So I have a bus stop here. I'll have, at this kind of end, I'll have a metro station eventually, as well as I'll have a footpath that is going in both directions, right? So it'll cross the road eventually, and it'll end up over here because this road's going to get wider. So it'll end up here, and then if we're doing the same thing on the next road, it will actually be over here. The reason why is because this road will get wider, right, by 1. And the same thing over here. If we're trying to have it cross over, right, this will be here. And, oops, wrong way, this way. And there. And then our cross will be here, there. See that? How much like we just saw earlier, if you were watching the stream, I was talking about how you can create a 4-way walking path and even do an angled walking path and pre-visualize that ahead of time. Now, another great thing about it is it's actually 4 square, right? So it's 4 this way, 4 that way, which is about the same size as a full-size house or full-size commercial building or full-size industrial building. So if you've got an industrial building there in the corner, you can actually just take it out and use it for your footpaths. But we want to have a certain amount along that row. So let's go ahead. Again, we're just kind of fooling around. We'll get serious here in just a second, and we'll start this baby up. But again, let's go ahead and visualize it now along the road. And we're going to go ahead and say, okay, and then now we're going to have 1 there, and I'm going to go ahead and leave a 4 gap there. 1 there, and so on along here. You can do this all before you even start your roads. So let's say we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we want to leave a gap, right? Say we want to have a footpath that runs right down the middle of this, which is very important because otherwise they're going to be driving their cars everywhere, or they're going to have to walk all the way around. And that footpath will, of course, cross between the 2 of them, right? So it can cross all the way over. And again, I need to think about what kind of gap I'm leaving here in the middle, so later on, when I expand all these roads and everything, I don't have to redo a lot of my utilities. I don't have to redo stuff. You'll end up redoing your industrial and everything later anyway, but at least you'll be prepared so you don't have to run into the snafu of you don't have enough room for your footpath. You don't have enough room for your metro station, right? You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. Now, another thing you can do is you can also, instead of doing this, right, you can have your footpath come in. And thank you so much for dropping the Dragon Hammer to Falcon. I appreciate that. Appreciate you coming in, hanging out in the stream. You can run your footpath directly into the metro station that you're going to use later, and then just do this, right? Have a little extra. So the footpath actually goes around the metro station, so that when they're coming along, they can walk around the metro station, or they can walk in the middle of the city, right? So let's do it for real. Let's do it for real. So let's go ahead and reload. Now, again, this is why I saved right here at the start. I saved right here at the start so that I'll have all my cash. There we go, 69,000. And again, let's do it for realsies this time. And again, I know exactly how I'm going to start. I have a visual of it in my head, right? And now you guys know exactly what I'm going to be doing too. So I know I'm going to run this road, and this is going to be a primary road down there. So I can make a pretty big road there. This way. I know I'm going to go this way, right? But I'm not going to do it right there in the very beginning. I'm going to offset a little bit. Otherwise, if I'm trying to put utilities and stuff down here, it's going to be in the way. So I'm going to offset it one whole thing here, and then just basically run it as far as I can that way for now. And then we'll just kind of get that as our starter road. We know that we need to upgrade this road right here for our electricity in a minute, but we're not going to do that. First, we're going to visualize our roads, and then we're going to figure out what our gap is going to be. All right, so we're going to go ahead again, start with, we know that this is going to offset, right? We know it's going to offset from the edge. So we're going to use blue as an offset. We know we're going to have at least an offset here and here, right? So we're going to have an offset there when we expand these roads. And then the interior of this road, we are going to have our industrial, right? So I'm just going to run it here along this edge. We're going to have our industrial in there. And then, of course, we'll want to have our metro station at the end. There's our metro station. So this blue here just means that this is eventually going to expand and take over that edge. So if we put our buses down and our metro station down, or we put our buildings down and we expand, boom, all those buildings have to be redone. But if we think about it ahead of time, especially this way, right, when you're doing your residential, whatever, you won't have to redo those buildings. I don't mind redoing industrial, commercial, not so much, and residential, absolutely no. I don't like to interrupt my residential because that's the key part of your income. If you're disrupting your residential a lot, your income is going to just keep dropping and keep dropping. So there we go. So we're visualizing that a little bit in our head, all right? And then again, we're going to expand here. We're going to expand there. And again, let's look at how many we're going to go before we create a crossroad, right? That's really what we're figuring out. When are we going to create a crossroad? Down here, right? And here we go. Now, so width-wise, we're going to do this by 4. So let's just say by 4. And again, of course, we'll expand this eventually like that. And now, eventually, we also want to take over this corner with our footpaths. So actually, we're going to think of this as footpaths. So let's go ahead and think of this as footpaths in here. Let's take all this out. Probably should use blue again, but we're out of colors. We're out of colors, so we'll go ahead and just take this out. You guys get the idea what that is. And we'll use blue here for our footpaths. So our footpaths are going to go like this, and they're going to go like this, right? So we've got that going here. On the opposite side, same thing, 4 this way. And I'll show you how to fix it if it's not letting you go the minimum 4. Then we've got this. We're going to have a footpath here. So this whole first part here is going to be nothing but footpaths and kind of an opening. And then the footpath is going to run along in the middle of it here, right? So we've got that visualized out. And then we're going to have our industrial 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll leave a gap just so it makes it easier for us to visualize it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Empty gap. Now, the cool thing about using your zoning to figure stuff out is that you can put it down. It doesn't cost you anything. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have another footpath in the middle, which is going to connect to this footpath, right? Like so. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. Now, the opposite on the other side, right? Say we want to do the exact same thing on the right side, have that as the main road. We're going to need to do the same thing. So let's go ahead and do footpaths, right? There's our kind of footpath. We need another gap right here along this edge for when we expand the road, right? So we're going to expand the road here and expand the road there. And I'm just using these colors as an example. So we know now exactly where to put our road, right? We know where to put our road. It's not there. One more over. We know where we want to put our road, roughly right there, right? See, we visualize that again. Footpath right down the middle here. We've got our footpath down the middle. So we've pre-thought out our footpaths. We've pre-thought out our expansion of our roads later on. And if you want to, you can pre-think out like how you're going to do your railroads, how you're going to do all that stuff down the street. And the same thing on the far side here. I've also got my offset for this road. Again, leaving that one road empty there. And now we've got that road thought out. And of course, we've got over here so we can connect it to this road. Now, watch out that it doesn't do this, right? It's actually angling up a little bit. It's not 90% in there perfectly. So what we're going to do is extend this road. We're going to screw that road up and then bulldoze that road. We're going to extend this road. Bump my mouse at the very last second before I click. We're going to extend that road, and then we're going to bring this road straight out so that it connects a little bit better, because otherwise it'll try to snap up in there, and I don't like that. I like to be nice and straight. Now, I'm building my city very square. You can do it with circles and rounds and all that other stuff, and build and take away and build and take away as you go as well. But I do try to visualize it ahead of time. So this is the perfect distance, right? So how far is that distance-wise? Well, you can come back and just kind of do it. 1, right? So we've got our very first kind of marker here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3 blocks. So 5 kind of distance markers, and then 3 blocks at the end. So we now know exactly how wide that is. So when we're trying to build another road up the way, we know how far that is. Now, vertically, how far is this? So 1 road, and then 1, 2, 3 again in that way. Weird how that works out, right? Weird how it works out with that kind of offset, because I'm making very specific offsets. And again, then we'll go ahead and we know we're going to do a lot of with this road, so we're going to go ahead and extend that way out here in the beginning as well, like so. And now we've got a good visual for all of that. And again, we'll extend this road first. All of this stuff down here will be a little wonky in the very beginning until I extend and upgrade that road. And then, so we already know what the offset is here, right? So we're going to go ahead and just try to do the offset, right? So we'll go up by 1, right? And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then to try to do it. But I don't like to put roads in without testing it first, right? Let's test it first. So we'll leave an offset. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go ahead and leave a spot for this. We'll go ahead and put our roads in, our walkways like that. Good visual. We need to leave a gap like we left here. We're putting our road in. And again, so here, and then 1, 2, 3. It should be right about there, and that's right. Right. So that's right. So when we go here, we're going here, and then 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, it's 4. Actually, it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is actually where it's at. So that's why I double check it on the next row. Measure twice, build once, right? There you go. And then there we go. And then we've got room for the expansion later on when we expand this road. Because these first roads are going to be expanded, right? This road, and that road. Because that's where my industrial is going to be. I'm going to need to have heavy traffic for trucks and stuff like that. So there we go. So we've got our industrial kind of thought out. We've got our stuff. And, of course, we'll continue that pattern all the way up. Once you got the width down, then all you got to do is, of course, get the crossroads in, and then you're good, right? And then you run the crossroad all the way across, like so, nice and straight. Again, make sure this is really far out so you're not accidentally, making it wonky. And again, there we go. So we're going to have there. Now, this one actually is not going to have a metro station. I do not put that many metro stations in. I put one here. I'll put another one, say, 2 blocks over or 3 blocks over, and so on. So this one's really not going to have a metro station. So we'll unvisualize that one. We'll take that out. Don't need the cross here, right? Because they can just walk straight across and go up that, or they can kind of cut out on the edge of the road as they go. Because there'll be an actual walkway on the edge of the road as it goes. So we'll go ahead and keep on going. So again, offset with our Brain-A-Lona. So again, do we want to do 2? Do we want to do 3? I would say 3. So let's go ahead and just keep going, and we'll make this our footpath here. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will actually be the 5th one. So we'll leave that center part. And let's just go ahead and make it another color just to visualize it a little easier. There we go. And we'll leave a gap over here. And our next road will be right about there. Again, so if you have trouble visualizing it, or if you're having trouble counting down that way, I find this works really, really well to kind of pre-visualize. So that's 4. Actually, this is 5 here. So actually I made a mistake. Made a mistake there. So I've got to back up. And if you make a mistake, no big deal. Let's just take that out. This is 4. This is our middle path. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this road is now too far because when it expands, it's not going to hit that. Let's take that back out. Let's go ahead, visualize that again. Again, leaving that 1 block gap. So there we go. There we go. Thanks to you. Hey, any chance of starting a BP on any Lineage 1 private servers? Wow, Munchies. Whoa, are you giving me some flashbacks? You know what BP stands for, don't you? You know what BP stands for. It stands for Blood Pledge, which comes from Lineage. I started it 15 years ago, my guild in a game called Lineage, and has been running ever since. One of the longest running gaming guilds. Been together 15 years with over 800 members over that time, which is pretty awesome. Kismet was a clan from Lineage 1. No, that is correct. Wow. Give Munchies 1,000 Kizcaps for asking an epic question there, mods. That is a fantastic question. Yes, it is from Lineage 1. I was very famous for my maps, also very famous for our teamwork in which we took over on the Lands of Aden server. We took over all the castles. Not just a couple, not just 1, not just 2. We took them all over. Thanks to our allies, and of course, thanks to my amazing members as well. Lots and lots of fun back in the game. Hey, Pug! PUBG Gaming, YT, what's up? Thanks for hanging out in the stream. Yes, yes, yes. Thinking about getting this game, but not sure. If you played SimCity and you liked SimCity, this is a must-have. This is a must-buy. It absolutely worth the cash. Hands down, buy this game. I strongly recommend it. It's a little awkward in the beginning if you're used to SimCity, because SimCity has a lot of limitations and this one does not. It has a massive world that you can build, not just in this square. I can actually buy the next square over and the next square and up here, buy like 5 or 6 squares, and before you know it, you've got this insanely massive city, which you'll see me build eventually here on the stream. But as you can see, we're kind of pre-thinking out our stuff first before we get too far. Before we get too far in it, we burnt all of our cash and our offsets are not correct. Now, we know our width offset is correct now because we've already pre-thought it out ahead of time. Again, leaving that edge. We've got our room for our metro station. And this one's just going to be a path, right? And then we'll do another metro station up here where we will go ahead and leave room for that as well. But I kind of leave room for a metro station in every single offset anyway, right? I already leave that room. Now, this part right here is actually going to be residential, right? So once we get up here, so this is going to be industrial, industrial, industrial. So we have 3 lines of industrial, and that's about as much as you need. And then right here actually is going to be commercial. So this will actually be a commercial building right there, which actually would be in further. That'll be a commercial building, and then I can start my residential if I want to, or I can just go, I can go even further, say, actually residential, commercial is going to be here, sorry. Commercial is going to be here, so we've got 3 lines here. This actually, 1, 2, 3. Commercial is going to be here. This is going to be residential. I'm glad I looked at that. This is going to be residential, but actually be commercial at the end, because I book in my stuff with commercial. And again, we'll go ahead and go across here. And in theory, we should be able 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to have a footpath right there, right? And then actually, let's kind of flip this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Leave the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4. Etc. And then, of course, we've got all of this stuff on the other side over here, right? So if we did that correctly, our things should line up. Oh, I put it in even further. I put it on this side. Okay, see, good to visualize it ahead of time, right? So let's go ahead and put this in. So we did 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have this center area here, right? Which is going to be our footpath. Oh, let's just use blue. As our footpath that goes all the way down like so. All the way in between all of the places. So we're using 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the offset. Okay. And then over here again, we've got our footpaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have our metro station on this side because we're going to create a circuit for the metro station. And if you can't visualize this, don't worry, everybody. I will get to the part where I make it happen, where I make this go. But I do like to leave an extra space for the metro station. So this is 4 and 1 and 4 and 1. I do like to leave an extra space for that metro station so I can make the footpath run around the metro station, right? So if they're coming down the middle, they can get that footpath and so on. So I do like to leave that extra bit there as well. Now, this actually is going to be offset by 1 like this. So that it actually ends up more like this. So this will be inset. Along, oh, wait, down here that'll be inset. Up here it will not be inset because this is going to remain a single lane road. So double lane road. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm only going to upgrade these 2. So we'll upgrade these 2 this time. Last time I did 3. So let's do 2 this time. Let's upgrade this. This will be a single lane road. So it's not going to inset, right? It's not going to move in. So if it's going to move in on the right side because this will be a main road, but this is not going to move in. Again, this may be hard for you guys to visualize, but I just saw that in my mind. See how that just kicked in? I said, wait a minute, that's not right. And that's why I try to pre-visualize it in my head that this is going to have that And this is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll take this out. Metro station. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Metro station. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Metro station. 4, and then center line. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to leave a 3 gap in the middle here. Now when we get up here, we don't need to leave a 3 gap because this road is not going to offset. So we actually need to take this road out. But I like to tell you guys about my thinking process when I'm doing stuff. Now, if you can pre-think this out way ahead of time, it does help a lot. So let's go ahead and back up here. Again, I just saw that this actually is going to be residential. So let's take all this out. We're going to leave our footpath in there. Oops. Like so. All right, so this is not going to have an offset. No offset here, right? This is going to have an offset on this side because we're going to expand these roads, right? Expand this road, expand that road, not expand this road. So this side does not have an offset, and this side does. So we actually have 2 roads that we have to back up and say, okay, wait a minute. We've got to visualize how that offset is going to be. Like that. Again, this is the time to do it right now. Later on, it costs you a fortune to do that. And what you really want to do is learn the distances, right? How far you want the distance to be. So this is going to have an offset along here, right? And again, this will have an offset along this way. So when we expand the road, then we'll have our thing here. We'll have a thing there. No, we're not going to have a thing in the middle, so we'll take that one out. And then again, another 4 in the other direction. Let's just use this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then footpaths. And then this one's not going to expand, right? So on this side, the actual road, and again, that's what we're using this whole technique for, is to get our roads correct in the very beginning, which is incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult to pre-visualize your roads very, very early on in the thing. So that does not have an offset. So that right there is more what we're looking like on that. All right, so that'll go like so. And now we've only got a 1 gap in the middle, right? So 1 gap in the middle, 3 gap in the middle. Now that's what you're trying to learn by doing this. I already know what the gaps are based on how much gap I leave in the middle, right? Width-wise, you want to figure it out. But vertically this way, it's how big of a gap you want to leave in the middle. So in this case, when we're doing residential, I want to leave only a 1 gap. But when we're doing industrial, I want to leave a 3 gap if I'm going to put in a metro station, right? So metro station here. So we're going to have industrial, industrial, and then industrial here, right? We'll have commercial here. And then over here is where our residential begins. And again, this road's going to expand. So we're going to expand that road. Thanks so much for that follow. Thank you to Kicking Knock. And Fokin also, thank you so much for dropping the Dragon Hammer, crushing that follow button, becoming part of the Kismet Army. And I know you guys are like, Kismet, just play the game. Just play the game. This is vitally important. Vitally important to figure this out at the very beginning. And that's what we're doing so that we keep our momentum going in the city, right? So here we are, 2 gap, 1 gap, right? 2 gap, 1 gap for when we're transitioning from this to this. Now, there is one problem. There is one problem that this is going to expand, right? And this is not going to expand. So this I can run right up to the edge, but this actual part here is going to go like this, right? So it's actually not a 1 gap. This is actually going to be a 2 gap because you got to consider the road being expanded as well. So again, made a mistake. All right, hold on. Let's take it back out again. And do it again. And this is really what I'm trying to show you guys. To redo it and do it again and do it again until you know what your offsets are. And then I do a lot of this at the very beginning to learn those offsets. And then there we go. We've got a 2 offset. Now, a 2 offset is when I'm going to expand this road. Then this one here is going to be a footpath in the middle. And then this one's not going to expand, right? So that's a 2 offset. A 3 offset is if both sides are going to expand. And then I will be left with just 1 square in the middle, right? Which are going to be my footpath because footpaths take 1 square. Roads take 2 squares. Larger roads take up 4 squares, right? I mean, it's going to take up those on both sides as well. So 3 gap if you want to expand both roads on both sides, right? And of course on the left side. 3 gap for both roads. If you're going to expand one side but not the other, right? 2 gap, right? If you're not going to expand either side, right? If you're going to leave it as a small like residential road, which I am, then it will be just a simple 1 gap, right? So instead of doing all of that stuff that I did, right, to visualize that, now you can do it by the numbers. You can do it by the numbers and then just simply just do the rest of the city like this. So that's nice and straight. Even though it says 180, it still goes a little cockeyed there. So there we go. So now we can visualize the entire city very, very easily like that. And again, we'll have a footpath that runs down the entire city. Now, when we get to the next part, right? So this is industrial, 1, 2, 3. This actually is going to be industrial right there. Oop, take that out. This is going to be industrial. Eventually, it'll be up by 1 because this will be our gap here. Expand that road. Like so. This road will not expand. So that actually is going to end up right there, commercial, right? And then on this side, we're going to do our residential, which will end up like this, right? Crossing over there. And again, we have the inset so that when we expand this middle road, it won't destroy our homes. We don't want it to destroy our homes when we're doing it. And so on. And this whole part right here will be just residential like that, right? And then in here, we're going to have a footpath that runs down the middle. It'll be just fine. And then now when we get up here, we're going to be thinking about our utilities. Now, our utilities are going to be huge. They're going to be massive. And you got to leave a big gap in there. So how big of a gap do I need to leave? Well, again, you need to visualize what you want to do. Now, we've already figured out the footpaths, so we don't need to worry about that. We've already got that offset in both side directions. We figured out that we're not going to expand this road because it's going to be a residential road, but we are going to expand on this side, right? We're going to make this side into a 4-lane road because that's going to be very heavily traffic area. Buses are going to be coming in there. They're going to be going to the thingies. They're going to be going to the high schools and stuff. I don't know why I can't remember schools today, and so on. So we need to think about that. So how much of a gap to leave in here? So first, we'll think about our footpaths, right? So we'll say, okay, we'll put our footpaths here because this road's not going to expand. This road will be a 2-lane road. Our footpath's going to end up there. Now on this side, we're going to actually let's use some green. There we go. So our footpath will come up there, and again, this one will expand, and this whole area here will be taken out, right? So that'll be our footpaths. And then we need to leave enough room in this direction so that we can go ahead and do a footpath in that direction, a total of 4 distance. And then we want to think about, okay, well, this part right here is going to get knocked out, right? But we need to leave extra room for our utilities because otherwise, back to back, you'll have trouble. Like if you want to put a park on this side and then put stuff on that side, which I like to do because then the park is right in the middle of the city. And then you'll see this will be my utilities. This will be my residential. This residential will have access to these utilities in the center. And then I'll put more residential on the other side and it'll actually become the central hub of my residential, right? So right here, and then I'll expand residential around it in a big circle. And then, of course, all my utilities be in the center. So everybody goes toward the center of the city in the residential section, which is not crossing over where my industrial and my commercial is so that it doesn't cause a lot of cross traffic. And again, visualizing it ahead of time, way ahead of time. So let's keep going. Now, again, I'm watching my cash down here. You don't want to get below 20 or 15,000 at the very beginning. This way it gives you enough cash to keep that momentum going. So again, footpath. We're going to have a major road, so it's going to be here. But again, we want to leave some extra room in the center. So we might just say, you know what, bam. Maybe we're gonna run a train, right? Maybe we're gonna run a train right down the middle, right? Then we could leave. Say, okay, hold on, I want to leave another one. We got a footpath that we've got our walkways, we've got a footpath, and we got train. Now, train actually takes up 2, so you got to think that train's gonna take up 2 as it comes through, right? So you got to leave enough room for a train. So you want to run a train behind there. And then maybe you want to have, on the other side, you want to have a metro station, right? Maybe you want to have a metro station right there. So the train could come in, land there, boom, be right next to the metro station, whatever you want to do. Pre-visualize that baby right there. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's actually take this out. Let's pre-visualize our footpaths like that. Actually, our footpaths will be more like this, like that. Because we're going to run our footpaths along that edge, and then it will end right here next to the residential, 4 and 4. And then, of course, we'll leave that gap. Take all this out. And let's say we want to put a metro station here, which we absolutely do. We absolutely want to have a metro station next to where all of our stuff is. So we'll have a metro station, say here. We'll go ahead and visualize those footpaths again. Run a footpath behind there. We want to leave a gap so we have enough distance for our park and whatnot. So let's say we're going to leave an extra 3 gap. Because again, if you count the numbers, right? If you count the numbers, so this is 4, and then an actual park is an additional 4, right? So it's 8, right? So it's 8 wide. So now we can do that 8 wide. And then on the other side, you might put an object that's 8 wide also. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it's going to be 8 and 8. So let's make this a little bit easier on ourselves like this. So we'll visualize 8 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the other side, right? 8 on the other side. We're going to have a 2-lane road on this side, or 4-lane road. So we need to make sure we think about the offset. So we've got 8 and 8. But of course, with 8 and 8, if you want to put your walking path right in the center, you want to also think about that walking path being there. So let's take that out. Let's take this out. Let's say this is going to be our offset here. Our walking path is going to be in the center like this. Look at where I'm going, everybody. Hopefully you're following with me. And then metro station there. Walk path in the center. Offset by another 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have a road offset, right? So 8 on this side, footpath in the center, footpaths on the side, right? And then on this side, offset for when we upgrade this road to a 4-lane road. And we are getting there, everybody. We are getting there. I'm sorry if this is making your brain hurt. It made my brain hurt the first time I tried to figure it out. But it will affect your gameplay. It will actually affect your momentum of building all of your stuff. And again, we'll go ahead and leave that extra gap, create that crossroad, and then we will expand that eventually. And there we go, everybody. Now, that's pretty much my starting grid right there. Now, also, I can save myself some cash if I want to go ahead and take this road out like that. Now, it's all by the numbers. All by the numbers, everybody. So, 3 gap if we're expanding both sides and we're putting a footpath in the middle. 2 gap if we're expanding only one side and putting a footpath in the middle. 1 gap if we're not expanding the roads on both sides, right? Vertically. And then, of course, here we've got a massive gap in the middle. How long is that gap? 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, let's do it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gap. 10 gap there, right? That's for your really big stuff. Also, you have some stuff that's actually 10 wide, right? That's really big, like your tourist stuff later on. It's going to be like a 10 gap. So you need to leave that there as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. So again, let's just write this down. Let's go ahead and make some personal notes on there. So both roads expand equals 3 gap, right? 1 side road expand equals 2 gap. And then no road expansion, 1 gap. So there you go. So there you go. Some great ways to visualize. Now you can also do a 6 gap instead of this kind of big one. I'm doing again here. 1, 2. Let's actually cut this in half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Another great way to visualize is to count it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So you got 5 and 5, right? So it's 5 on both sides. And again, this part here is not going to expand. So I need to kind of visualize that. Now, if I was going to expand both sides, would have to add one more block. So that would actually be an 11, right? That would be an 11 block. So you gotta visualize how you're going to expand your roads later on, and that's going to give you your widths, and that's going to give you your heights. And that is pretty much the bulk of what I'm trying to explain there. And also make sure on the width-wise you leave room. If you're going to do large blocks like this, make sure to leave room for a footpath down the center. We might want to leave a double footpath in some places. Like right here, we might create a footpath, right, that goes across the road. But we also want a footpath that runs down the center so that when people are crossing from this block into the next block, we'll have that. Now, that's going to cut into some of our houses here. But if we want to keep it very symmetrical, that's going to just basically some of our middle places here are not going to be there. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll just pre-visualize that as something like that, right? So we've got our main walkway going down here, which are our bridges. And then our center area here, which is connects through the middle. Right now, we can also make up for that as well on our side roads if we want to do a double in the center. Of course, we'll make a side road one wider, meaning we have one that's bridges and one that is just the roads where they can get and cross, right? Because most of these are going to come down along the edge of the road, so they can just go up the footpath. So I don't need a double everywhere. I only need a double when the actual roads are obstructing the ability for them to get onto the footpaths and on back down. Meaning that if I have a crossing here, right? If I have a crossing there, then they cannot get on the footpath, right? Because I don't have a section going like that. And I can also do what I do over here, like this on the corners. I can have the footpath go out by 4 and go out by 4, right? So when I'm putting in my utilities, I'll put them over here and then over here on this side, right? You're like, all right, Kismet, let's get to it. All right, let's get to it, everybody. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and do it again. And I'm going to do it real fast this time. And again, before we start, hold on. Before we start, again, let's do this distance, right? So we're going to match this distance road now that we've got it figured out. And again, we'll do this. Again, we're here, 1, 2, 3. So we know what it is. So 1 to here, 1, 2. We're looking at this long line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3. All right, so 5 and then 3 more. And we're going to do it right from scratch, and then we're going to start it. Let's do it. Load game. Right from scratch. And in we go. And again, if you do have a question or comment for me, my name is Kismet. You can put Kiz or Kismet in the chat. It'll highlight in red. I know you're talking directly to me. And again, this time I'm going to go ahead and start with a straight road. Now, there's a part you didn't see here, by the way. So I started with one of these roads, 2-lane roads. I made a very small version of it. I bulldozed that. And then I could open up any roads that I want. And also, I keep all my cache because I got the game paused. So we're going to go ahead and run that down the middle here. And we're going to run it this way, right? And then we're going to move our way up until the first kind of major crossroad here. And eventually, I'll expand down here. But we're going to get started here. And then no matter what happens, we're just going to keep running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So that should be our crossroad. But we're going to check it. We don't just assume it's right. And then we're going to go ahead and go like that. Okay. We're going to check it. So this way we don't create this extra road over here, which we don't really want to because otherwise it burns up some of our beginning cache. We know we want to leave a 3 gap, but again, let's visualize it real quickly. We know both these roads are going to expand outwards, so we're going to go like this, right? We're going to do that 4 that way, 4 this way, metro station. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And then we're going to have our industrial here, 1 and 4. Just making sure I don't count wrong. If you count wrong, your whole thing gets screwed up. And there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Then this is our walking path. And then 1, 2. Now, I'm actually have industrial in the center there, but I'm just helping it visualize. There. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm doing it very symmetrical in this playthrough. And then in theory, we should have room at the end, right? Like this for the expansion and for this if the distance is correct. So we should be able to do 4 for our footpaths and have an extra area there quite nicely. For our thing there, and of course, metro station here. And then, of course, on the other side, footpaths, like so. Now, again, on the other direction, we want to think about how when we're going across, that this should be a 3 gap, right? So when we're going, we're looking. Let me go ahead and show you right where I'm looking when I'm doing this. We are looking. There we go. Get my red arrow. Let me go ahead and make this straight up and down. We're looking actually at the circle here, how the circle touches these squares. So as I move up, I'm going to be looking how this circle touches this square here. So this is going to be a 1 gap, right? Right there. That'll be a 1 gap if I start the road there. If I move up, that'll be a 2 gap. That'll be a 3 gap. And across here we go. There we go. There is our 3 gap. Like so, right? Of course, I used the wrong road, but you get the idea. You get the idea. So let's go ahead and get that road back out. Let's use this road. Thank you very much. And again, looking down here at the bottom of the circle on seeing how much of a gap I have. And get a red arrow out of there. All right, so this is going to be a 3 gap. I'll upgrade this road eventually down the road. Oh, actually, we did this number wrong. Hold on. This is wrong. Let's back up. That's 5 and not 4. Again, always double check your numbers. There we go. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we got a gap in there. But it still works out. It still works out fine because you figured out the numbers, right? You figured out what the gapping is. See? It's still right. It's still 3, right? You see we're creating a 3 gap in the middle. It's still right, even though I had zoned it incorrectly. The numbers still work out. So let's go ahead and run this across like that. And again, we're going to go ahead and upgrade on one side, but not the other side. So we're going to go ahead and do a 2 gap like this. There we go. So we're going to upgrade on this side, which is going to push it in, and then it's going to still have room in the center for this. Now, this is going to be a residential road. It's not going to upgrade, right? This road upgrade, this road upgrade, this road not upgrade. Since I'm not going to upgrade that road on both sides, I only need now a 1 gap in the center. I think you guys are following along. I think we've thoroughly illustrated what the secret is to this game. And again, we're gonna have 2 things of residential, right? So industrial, commercial, residential. This is going to be residential here too. So again, 1 gap in the center. Let me get in closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. 1 gap. Now, if we screw this up, we're going to have to redo all of this. There. Now, of course, now we're getting to our big stuff, right? To our big stuff that we're going to put in here. Stuff that's 8 across. Stuff that's 6 across, right? On both sides. Now, the schools are 6 across. The parks are 8 across, right? So you could figure out that. But we're just going to leave a massive gap. And I'm going to show you something about power in a bit as well. So we're going to leave a 10 gap in the center. Right? And we also need to think about that we have an offset road up here too, right? So we're going to leave a 10 gap. So we're going to go ahead and try to visualize that, or just, you know, use it as kind of visual here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll often make a mistake with numbers, and that's why I will constantly recheck my numbers. So there's 5, there's 5. And if we want to leave an extra gap there, again, we'll go ahead and expand our road a bit further. A little bit. There we go. And we know that we're going to expand out this side. So we want to make sure that we have a total of 8 and 8 on both sides. So on this side, it's not going to expand. So we'll have a total of 8 to, let's use a blue one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So if we want something to go 6, we go that far. We want something to go 4, we go that far. In this case, we go 8, or we want to do 10, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's really, really far. That's a bit too far to go right there. That's a bit too far because you got 4 on this side, 4 on that side. So what you really want to do is go 4, then 5 here, right? 5 on this side, like so. And then 4 on this side, remembering that this road is going to be, that this gap here is going to be lost. And then we'll go ahead and put our road in right there. And then again, that actually gives us a wider gap than we had before. It actually gives us a 12 gap if we think about how we're going to put our houses in and all that stuff in on that side. If we want to go that far. But that is too far to actually cross the power. I find that usually about 10 is the gap that I feel comfortable using. So let's go in and de-zone that again. And so again, we're going to leave a 10 gap. Now the reason why we're going to leave a 10 gap in there is so that we have enough, again, for our big park, any other big stuff that we want to put on the other side. And again, we'll go ahead and do this like that. And again, we'll do this, giving that 1 extra right there. So it's really a giant gap, right? But the actual road itself, is going to be kind of like so, right? So if you want to do 6 instead of 10, you can, or you can do whatever. You can do whatever. You'll figure it out along the way because you'll see, you go, uh-oh, I forgot to do what such and such to make room for that expanding. Again, this road is not expanding, but this road over here is. So we're going to leave a big gap, and we're going to test it out. Let's go ahead and run it across. Let's go ahead and do our crossroad. And there we go. And we wasted very minimal amount of road space at the very beginning, right? And then this road right here doesn't need to be here. Let's go ahead and get that cash back. There we go. And again, there's my beginning right there. There's my beginning. Now, when you get to this point, by the way, great time to save. So let's go ahead and save this as pre-build. Pre-build 1. Save. Now, again, let's go ahead and get to it here. We've been talking about that for a while. Let's get to the nitty-gritty here. So we're going to go ahead and run our piping. This is always the same, by the way, at least for me. I know I'm going to run my piping right down the middle, right to there. Because it's the easiest way to start. It's just to run it down the middle right to the road on this particular map. Right down the middle of the road. And then we'll go boom, put our water in, connect that. Nice. And this tells me my offset of where I want to put my sewage. I'm going to put it down a little bit like so. And connect those two together. Nice. Looking good. So I've got my water going there. Now, of course, I need my cross water this way. And I'm only going to go right there because, again, I don't need to waste that. And then I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to try to get a little bit of overlap. Right? Try to get that perfect overlap like that, where it's just a little bit of overlap, which, of course, costs you less money putting your piping down. And, again, I just leave about a block overlap. Like so. Now, the great thing about piping is this doesn't cost that much. There we go. So we got all our houses covered with piping. Now we want to, of course, run our electricity and think about our utilities. We also want to think about our exit. Currently, we're going to go ahead and just use our road right here. And we're going to try to line that up. But that doesn't line up very well, I find. So I don't want to line it up by that. I want to line it up by this. And we'll just go ahead and do something like that. Just so the outgoing traffic does not overlap where the incoming traffic is coming in. Something very similar to that. So we've got that visualized. We got that going. We've got our piping down. We've got our water down. Now we need to start with our utilities. Again, great place to save. So let's save this as pre-build 2. Save. And then we're going to go ahead and upgrade our roads where we need to put our starting utilities. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade this road. Just that one road there. And we're going to go ahead and put our power this way along this side road. Now, this is a problem. This is a problem. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot, right? Now, the cool thing about this game is if you did put it in the wrong spot, you can actually click on it and spend somebody to move it. Now, I don't want to do that because that cuts into my starting money, right? That cuts into my starting money. So I don't really want to do that. Oops, I made a mistake. Let's back up. Back up to pre-build 2.
My master made me this collar.
Squirrel!
He's a good and smart master so that I may talk. Squirrel!
Squirrel! Let's see. Alpha Wolf coming in with a host. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. We also got Rigbo coming in with a host. Thank you so much, everybody, for hosting the channel. I see Cotton Candy Clouds hanging out in the chat. Throws confetti in Cad Blat's beard. There you go. Hey, everybody. I see Rigbo in there having fun. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. As you can see, I'm getting very, very focused. Very, very focused. Thanks for that squirrel in the chat. If I do get focused, throw a squirrel in there. Stops Jello, did you say? There's always room for Jello. Exactly. Exactly. There's always room for Jello. All right, so we've got that going. Now, I made a mistake on my power. Now, what I did right there also is I'm letting the game run. See the game's running? I'm actually losing cash. So I made a mistake. I didn't hit spacebar to stop it. Again, I'm just showing you some of the common starting mistakes here. And then we'll go ahead and reload it again. Spacebar right away whenever you load, because of course you want to have as much cash in the very beginning as you can. So let's do it correctly this time. We're going to go ahead and upgrade this road again, so we don't have to move it later. But this time when we put it down, make sure to inset it by 1. See, I'm insetting it by 1, so when I expand that main road that comes in, it doesn't make me have to move my power later on. So I'm going to inset it by 1 this time, and that should work out just fine. Now, I also need a lot of power. So here in the very beginning, I'm going to go ahead and use my power lines, which I rarely ever use. Now, by the way, you don't have to put it right here next to the power station. You can actually put it way out here where this blue area is. So I'm actually going to just run it along this edge like so. And you can also offset it out this way too, by the way. You can just go like this way, or you can go across on a catty corner like this, and just run it along the outside edge so that you're not overlapping this particular stuff. And this is all about getting the power way over here, like so, to both of those things, right? Now, this actually just barely touches the edge, and that actually will work. As long as it touches the edge of that particular thing, it will actually run the power there. Now, also, we want to go ahead and zone some stuff out. Now, I like to purposely, I'm going to go ahead and de-zone all of this stuff. I like to purposely zone stuff to build as I go, right? So I'll zone it as I'm building my city, so I have complete and utter control over how my city is building, right? So I'll go ahead again. We'll visualize. This part of the road's going to be gone, right? That part's going to expand. That part of the road's going to spawn. I don't want to build anything there, right? We're going to have our footpaths, which are going to be right there, right? Or we can use blue for footpaths. We're going to have our footpaths, which are going to end up right here. So we don't want to build anything there, right? So we want to build our very first house right there, right? And we already pre-visualized it. Our next house there, and our next house here. And this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our footpaths are going to go right down the middle there, right? So we've already pre-visualized it. We know when we do the road and whatnot, we know it's not going to push in this way because this is a residential road. We're going to leave that as a 2-lane road. This we're going to make a 4-lane road, or this we're going to make a 4-lane road. This we're going to make a 2-lane road. So this is going to be the same in these two, right? Because we got a 1 gap. So we can also do this kind of stuff, right? So we know that these are all going to be the same. Like that. And why do I leave this gap? Why am I not zoning this middle part? Because I want the this to fill in fully before I get another house, right? Otherwise it does that 1 line and 2 lines and it fills in weird. I hate it when it does that. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I've got to have it so each one fills into its maximum every single time. And that's why I use this tool, the marquee tool, versus the just drop a giant block of stuff in there. So I have complete control over it. All right, so there we go. So that's how I want my residential to start. Now, I've got a bit of a problem, though. And actually, let's go ahead and just finish this residential here while we're at it. And then leave a 4 gap. 4 gap. And there we go. See how easy that is? Actually, yeah, put it on this side, too. And you need about 3 or 4 times as much residential as you do everything else. So you'll see me actually have a massive amount of residential. This residential actually will continue whoop, way up into there. Not like that, though. There we go. This residential will actually go way up in here. But in the very beginning, I want to have complete control over where my residential starts, right? So I don't actually want to have any of this, right? I don't have any of this going. I want that. That's because I need to run some power to it. It doesn't have any power in the very beginning, right? I've got water, which I've already run, but it's got no power. So we want to go ahead and run some power. And I'm just going to run it so that it touches the edge, right? So where is the edge here? It's right about here. So it's about 5 in to where we want to start that very first one. Pretty much right about there. Run that across, link that. Boom, now it's got power. Once I start that power going, it's going to cascade across all of this automatically because you can actually leave gaps between your building and the power will expand, touching that next building, expand, touching the next building, and so on and so forth. So that's going to automatically expand that. And again, we'll go ahead and visualize where we're putting our, eventually, by the way, I'm going to put my services here because I've already got expanded road. But let's go ahead and visualize also where we're going to be putting our commercial. So we're going to be putting some commercial here to create a buffer in between the commercial, or between the residential and the industrial, like so. And pretty much like so. Now this I'm going to expand and put, actually put some services here. So I don't necessarily want to start that there. This way, I don't have to take it out and put it in, take it out, put it into it, and that's going to disrupt my service. And again, we're about 23,000. You want to be about 20 or 15,000 when you start. So we are actually good to start right now. And again, so eventually, I'm going to expand this road, which is going to take all this industrial out, and then I'll have to re-put it in. It's okay. We'll figure that out later. But again, there we go. We've got our industrial, our commercial already started and ready to go. And we'll go ahead and just put another one right here. And that's all I need right there to start my entire thing. I'll start my entire thing and watch how fast I build up to profitability. And that's also what it's about. It's about building it in such a way you're thinking about expansion so you don't have to bulldoze stuff. And then also getting that profitability as quick as possible. Great time to save before we actually start the thing. All right, so pre-build 3. Save. And we talked a lot about pre-building. This is the most important part, getting a good start in the game. Very important. Uh-oh, we got a bit of a power problem here. Let's fix this. There we go. We got our power. We got our water and our sewage. We've got our water run for all of our stuff. Our residential can get power because that's the first thing that's going to move in. And then also we've got our power or utilities on a 4-lane road because we're going to expand it to a 4-lane road. All of my utilities, by the way, I put them on 4-lane roads because utilities are kind of the hub of a lot of your city, right? And it does work out well later on. So let's go ahead and go. Start this baby up. And off we go. Off we go, everybody. Now, the first thing, of course, look, the first thing that came in is that commercial that is right next to power. Now, let's watch the power expand. Now, look, we've started another commercial over that way, or another residential. Another residential has gapped, and then the gap again. And now it's running power all the way across my entire grid, right? Automatically in the very beginning. I have complete control now. Oh, now it's going this way to that commercial. I have complete control over how it expands, which is just awesome, right? Again, see my residential went across, my commercial, and eventually my industrial will go across as well. Now I don't have to run any more power lines. I only had to run that very first power line. And eventually when I get this power, or these down by where this is. Now you can also just put residential right next to industrial and create some slums and start it that way and then take it out later and do all sorts of stuff like that. But I like to put it down once and leave it there, especially my residential. Commercial, yes, don't like to mess with it. Industrial doesn't really bother me if I mess with that. Unless I do it on a large scale. I don't want to do it on a massive scale because it will disrupt my ability for people to work. But now that we got it going, we can just start doing the easy stuff, right? Let's just go ahead and run it the other way, like so. Watch out for our footpath. Again, now we've got one as a template for all the rest of them, like so. There we go. Now watch how fast my residential moves in versus my industrial and everything. Because this has power right now. See, this has power. Now, notice how it's chaining the power across. And now all of them have power. All of them have water at the very beginning. They're happy as can be. Right now, I'm losing about 1,000 to 28. It's going down. It's going down. I'm getting close to that profitability. I'm at 18,000 right now. Right? Cash-wise, I'm going to have enough. So when I get my city up to the next expansion of my city right now, which is going to be 460, I'm going to be ready to go. Now that I've got these expanded, and these are expanded at max size, I will go ahead and add even more residential, like so, to where they're expanded on both sides. Now, this one is not expanded yet, so I'm going to leave that, and that will be the next one that comes in. There we go. And then these will start to expand like so. Now, I don't add that much industrial until later, but we'll go ahead and add some more commercial right here. And based on the demand is when it will start to come in. And as it demands more, as I see the ones that I've already put down fill in, that's when I add more. I don't just add a big block at the very beginning. I add it as I need it, right? As I see these filling in, there we go, another industrial right there. And then we'll go ahead and add another one. And we'll leave a gap. 2, 3, 4. Leave a gap. And look at the industrial now kicking in, right? And again, another gap. 2, 3, 4. Commercial. 4. Again, leaving a gap between my industrial and my residential so that pollution doesn't make its way over there. And there we go. Now, of course, I've already now filled in across. I'm going to hit the space bar to pause. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill that in like that. It doesn't affect the ones that have already been built. Fill it in like that. And now we've got a perfect row of industrial. And again, eventually I'll expand that road, right? I won't expand this road, but that road and this industrial will have to be redone. But as you can see, now I've got a perfect row of industrial, perfect row of commercial being built up here. And I'm almost 460. And look at the profitability. Look at the profitability. I'm 312 now. The profitability of my start right here is incredible. It's incredible. It's basically, I'm about to be profitable within the first few seconds of the game, right? First few seconds of the game, I am already profitable based on this kind of calculations that I figure out, whether it's a 1 gap or a 3 gap or a 2 gap or how I put my stuff down. There we go. Profitability at right when I hit Little Hamlet, right? So at Little Hamlet, I'm going to get some stuff, right? I'm going to get a landfill, I'm going to get a medical clinic, and I'm going to get an elementary school. And I like to save right at this moment. I like to pause the game, save, and then we'll call this utils. So we got our first kind of set of utilities, and those utilities are going to go way down here at the end. Again, remembering that our footpath is going to come through here, right? And that we want to have the ability for them to get off of that footpath on this side this time. And so we're going to go ahead and put our utilities on this side, right there, right? That's where our utilities will go. And we saved enough cash. Actually, 2, 3, 4, yeah. We saved enough cash so that we can do that as well, right? We saved enough starting money that we have enough to put down all of those utilities right here at the very beginning. So we're going to go ahead and use that as a template. We are going to go ahead and put down our high school. Again, sometimes hard to visualize it when you're doing it, right? And you can say, okay, it's right here under the TER. It's right here where this tree is. And then 3 over, it's going to be right here, say along this tree, right there. And again, say right there. And once you put it down, it's down, baby. And again, go back and check it. Yes, okay, so we've got the 4 this way and the 4 that way. And we've got our kind of center ramps, which we'll do with our paths and all of that fun stuff. Now, another cool thing we can do also is that we can create a double path. We can create a path that goes around this if we want, so people can just go around or they can get to the middle. We'll fool with that later on. There's that. All right, so that's our school. Now, we could have put the school on the other side. Doesn't matter what side I put it on. And then we're going to go ahead and do the clinic. And the same thing. Now, see, it's hard to see it because our residential goes away. So we're going to look at the tree there and line that up to that tree. There we go. We put our stuff down, and we are good to go, right? Wrong. I made a mistake. 1,000 kids caps to know what what mistake I made. What mistake did I make there? And I made it on purpose. Love the way you plan. I played just as meticulously. There you go. Bending. I know, I got obsessed with my start, right? Because what happens is you have a traffic problem later on. You have all of these issues later on that happen because of the very beginning. Because of what you started with, it causes all this stuff later on. So if you could master the beginning, all that stuff later on doesn't happen. Your traffic's going to be awesome. You're going to have bus lines is going to be awesome. You're going to have space for your metro stations. You're going to have space for all of that stuff, right? If you plan in the very beginning. If you don't, then you got to delete and come back and delete and come back, and then sometimes your income comes way down because you're deleting and adding and deleting and adding, and it just kills your momentum to have to take out giant sections and redo, right? Very meticulous way to do it. Now, you don't have to do any of this. You can just start playing and drop stuff down and see what happens, and then take it out and put it back in. But I like to reach profitability as quick as possible, because then, of course, I'm building up cash as I go along. Did you leave that square in the middle between houses for the pedestrian road? Yes, it is. It is. Technically, half the game is bulldozing houses that complain. That's true, the Pelter. That is true. That is quite true. Thank you to Dan Boost for dropping the Dragon Hammer, crushing that follow button, and becoming part of the Kismet Army. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for hanging out here in the stream. Now, what is the mistake I made? Did anybody guess? And this is why I save, right? The mistake I made is I'm putting utilities down, and this is going to be a 4-lane road, but I forgot to upload. I forgot to upgrade the road before I put the utilities down, right? So luckily I saved. I can reload. Let's go back, load. We're going to pause it right away the second I get into the game. Boom, just like in They Are Billions. You want to also pause that game right away. There we go. So we forgot to upgrade the road first. That's what we need to do. Again, we're leaving this for footbridges, right? So there's going to be footbridge here. There's going to be a path this way. We're going to have a path here because we're doing wide blocks, so we don't have to do a lot of crossroads. If we're doing a lot of intersections, traffic's galore. There's going to be massive traffic in your city. I try to reduce the cross sections as much as possible, allow them to walk to a lot of the places, and it just reduces traffic by a massive, massive amount, especially when your city gets really, really big later on. Later on, when I start doing real dense commercial, real dense residential as well. All right, so again, let's visualize that, but let's be smarter this time. So we got our footpath coming right down the middle right here, right? We've got an offset for our footpaths to kind of go down to the sides, right? And then, of course, we also want to go, wait a minute, no, this is not right, because this road is going to expand, and this whole section right here, this whole part right here is going to disappear. That part's all going to disappear. So again, it's more like this. That's going to end up like that. That's going to end up like that. Then we're going to have our stuff out here, right, eventually. But actually, we're going to upgrade it right now. So we're going to upgrade this road, because this is the road, because we pre-visualized it. That's the road that needs to upgrade. Then over here, this is the road that needs to upgrade, right? And I could leave it like that, and I could try to put my utilities on there, but don't do that. Don't do that. Just do the middle one, too. There we go. Just upgrade that whole entire line before you put your utilities down, because later on, if you want to expand that road, you got to move your utilities, expand the road, put the utilities back, or you could delete the utilities, which I find is a mistake, because you lose a lot of money doing that. It's actually cheaper just to move it somewhere else, then fix the road, expand the road to a 4-lane or 6-lane road, and then move it back, right? Because that's what I did, because I was very used to SimCity, where you have to bulldoze it. Well, in here, you don't have to bulldoze it. You can just move it to wherever you want to go. But in this case, if you think of it even further ahead, like I am, and again, we'll go ahead and look. Okay, now we're 1 over from that tree. And this time, we'll just change it up, and we'll put this over here. So we're 1 over from that tree, let's say. And actually, let's save this, too. Hold on. Let's save this before we put this down. Let's call this 5 utilities. There we go. And again, we're 1 over from the tree here, so we're going to try to visualize that across. There's the tree. Let's say right there. Again, we'll double check. Ah, too far, Kismet. Too far. No worries. No worries. Reload. Number 5. Reload. Too far. Again, Getting this kind of awesome start is amazing. I'm going to let this run, by the way, in just a second here. And you're going to see how I get through the milestones very, very quickly in the very beginning as well. So again, right there. Actually, that's a little bit easier to visualize to do that. It's actually right where the tree is. See, I turned it, now I can see it from a different perspective. It actually wasn't one beyond the tree. It is actually right where the tree is. And again, there we go. Much better. And then over on this side, where do I want it to be? Again, right where that tree is. Go ahead and put in this. And again, we want to have that cache. We want to have the cache down here. So when we expand and we put in our utilities, we're good. Now, there is one more utility that I want to add, right? And notice how the difference in the area there, the elevation. We'll mess with that later on. So there we go. So we got that going. And then, of course, there's one more thing we want to add, which is, of course, our trash, right? So what do we get in this upgrade, right? In this upgrade, we got this one. We got our landfill, which is trash, medical clinic, and elementary school. And we want to be able to put that in right away, right? Right away, we're reaching profitability right at the very beginning. And I'm going to go ahead and take my trash and I'm going to run it way off to the side. I'm going to spend a little bit of cash to run this road literally out in the middle of the boonies. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because later on, that trash is going to be in my way. And I don't want it to be in my way. I want it to be way out in the middle of nowhere, right? Now, I've left some room at the bottom here, specifically so I can go ahead and put that trash down at the bottom. But it's not enough, right? So I've got to actually put it up here in this one. Now, I don't put any utilities down because I know I'm going to upgrade this road later on. I'm going to go ahead, again, spend a little cash, upgrade that road. I'm going to upgrade it twice because I'm going to add multiple trashes eventually. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right here, way away from my city at the end of the road, like so. Eventually, I'm not going to have that at all. But there we go. So I have it way off to the side. Now, the reason why I have it way off to the side is so that it, again, will go way over here, and eventually I will get rid of this, and I will use burners down the road. So let's keep going, everybody. Good time to save again. Again, if you're like me, you save a lot as you go along. So we'll call this 6 utilities are in. There we go. Save and continue. And I'm going to speed it up so we can go a lot faster. Now, again, we have residential and industrial. Now, look at this. It's saying power, right? Remember how I said that gap was too far? See how far that gap is? It's a little too far. It's not spreading like it could. I find that an 8 gap is about where you want to be. Right here, again, how much of a gap do we have? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have a 10 gap there, right? So usually an 8 gap will actually gap between there, and you'll get that next house. But this is too far, so we're going to go ahead and just simply temporarily, when we get our park in there, we'll fix that. But we're going to go ahead and just temporarily run a little connection line like that, and then we'll let it run. Oh, didn't run it far enough. There we go. There we go. So we'll run a connection line between the two of them, and then that will allow that to start to kick in. Now our utilities are there. Now again, you always want to be thinking about your utilities. Which one does this need over here? Oops. Which one does this need over here? Power. Does it need power? It's got its own power. Doesn't need that. When we're doing trash, again, it doesn't need power. Does it need water? In this case, it doesn't need nothing. You stick it out in the middle of nowhere, it's fine. If you run a graveyard over here, though, you're going to need some stuff for that. And it will tell you what you need. It'll come up and say, hey, you don't have such and such for that particular thing. But look, I don't need nothing. I don't even need electricity. I don't need nothing for this thing out here. And my truck is already off and running, right? There's already a truck off and going. And we'll get out of here. We'll click on it. And we'll see, okay, is it working? Garbage, 0% thing. Garbage trucks in use, 5. So it's actually working right now with no power and no water. So you can stick it out there in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't cost you nothing. Now, by the way, your profitability is going to drop down. Notice my profitability now is 236. It has dropped way down because I need more residential to keep my city going. So we'll go ahead and expand that residential some more like this. And we can also cross some residential over this side. Notice how this residential is messed up here. Let's take that out. We don't want that to end up like that. And again, we'll go ahead and look here. Let's see, we got 4 across here. 4 there. This is kind of messed up here. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and do another 4 there. And the reason why I do it in groups of 4 is because it will fully fill up that particular area. Take that out. And then we'll go ahead, try to line that up like this, residential. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and bulldoze this. There we go. Now, some of this stuff will be temporarily because I'm going to have to expand that road over there. But again, I'm going to need a lot more residential. Now, again, watch how my cash starts to go down when I'm adding more residential. And again, let's look at it from a zoning part of thing. Watch as it starts to go down, right? It'll go up and down a little bit, but it'll start to go down because I have more residential. And I need to keep my residential going to make that number go down to where I hit that profitability. And again, I'm just going to not do nothing. I'm going to not do nothing and see what happens in the rest of this. See that profitability? Getting back to profitable. You're going to have that where you dip below profitability a lot. If you know that you can recover the power of knowledge, you're not going to worry about it. You're not going to be so worried about that I'm going to run out of cash, right? Watch this as it will actually start to turn itself around. Almost there. Again, based on how many people move in my city. We're at -2. Profitability again. That's how you make the dollar bills, everybody. That's how you make those dollar bills. Now, you can also temporary expand, but also I'm going to add some more commercial right here. Across there and across there. Looking good. Now, again, on the side here, these are all going to be footpaths and stuff like that, so I'm just not going to bother building stuff over there. We've got our utilities here. And what are we shooting for next? We are shooting for 900 peeps. And when we hit 900 peeps, we're going to get our police station and our firehouse. And I'm going to go ahead and probably put them right across from each other right here. And we'll expand this road, which will probably mess up this one, but that's okay. We'll put our firehouse down here so we can get it going. Now, we also got a demand for our industrial. So we'll go ahead and just keep our industrial going like this and like this. Now, again, the power is going to chain backwards. From up there. And then we'll do the same thing here. And again, the reason why I'm leaving a gap is so that these can fully fill into a full-size industrial. And once they all fill into a full-size industrial, then I'll fill in the 4 gap in the middle, and then those will fill into a full size as well. So we've got tons of industrial. Commercial doing good. Now, I like to book in my residential with commercial. So usually in the corner here, or the corner of this one, I will go ahead and make that commercial. So let's go ahead and take that out. Like that. Sorry, bro, you got to move out. And then let's do this. Now, meanwhile, plus 268, 270. My value of my place is going up. Over here, let's go ahead and take this one out. Again, and we could have put it in at the very beginning, but you know, you can improvise as you go along. Again, eventually I'll take that out because that is in the way. Same thing on this side. We'll take this out. Again, notice my profitability goes down. Taking that out. And then same thing right here. Don't be afraid to add and take away. Like that. So they don't have to travel too far. They can walk to those particular areas. Now we're going to wait. We really want to get our footpaths at some point. But if we look in here, we can see that we don't get our footpaths too early. We actually get them later on. Here when we get to Tiny Town, we get to 1400. That's not going to be a problem, right? Now I don't want to expand to the right yet because this thing is in my way. And if I go click here, I can't buy this thing yet, right? I've got to stay in this zone. So I'm actually going to push in this direction and try to expand that power in that direction first. And again, using my roads. Again, we're at 66 here. Man, we're going to run out of time. Run out of time, but you guys are getting the idea now. So we're going to go ahead and use our road here. And again, we want to do the same thing and kind of flip it that way. But right here actually is going to be all residential on this side. Residential all the way around this top edge because you need a lot of residential to make it happen. Now, one of the problems is this thing's in my way right now. So if I just like that, I would actually mess up my city. And I like to start right here where the bottom is. And again, we're going to go ahead and use our counting. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and then count 3. 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3. So right there, in theory, should be it, right? Now I've got all this power and stuff in the way now, and I don't need it anymore. You know why? Because watch this. While you weren't looking, bam! It connected the power to my power station. Now I no longer need all of this in the way. So, hey, let's get my cash back. Let's get that money back, and actually cost us less money to have this running over here, because you no longer need it. Now, if there's an issue later on, then you'll be in trouble. But we're going to go ahead and do something like this, and then we'll just go ahead and try to bridge the power from over here. I'm just going to go ahead and run it like this. Now, I could actually run it probably from right there. Let's just do this and see if that works. It should, if it's touching the edge of it, it works. That's a little too far. That's just a micro bit too far. So let's take that out, and let's just run it from over here, over there. There we go. And now our power's working to our stuff. So we took it out. We got our money back. We got that going. We're looking good. Now, another great way to bridge power is to just add something here at the end temporarily while you're waiting, right? Good thing to add, of course, is some residential, because that's going to give you those dollar bills. So add that on the side here. We'll watch our power. As it adds that residential there, bam. See, now I bridged that power. And again, I no longer need that over there, right? Now, I've also got a problem of water if I go beyond here or I expand this way. So we'll need to watch out for that. So in theory, this is right. But again, let's double check it very quickly this time. Very, very quickly. So we've got our expansion here. This road is not going to expand, right? This road here is not going to expand. This road is going to expand, right? And we want to go ahead and say that's going to expand there. We're going to have our footpaths right here, because this is not going to expand. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, like that. And then we're going to have our middle road, our footpaths in the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll have our other road coming along this way. Like that. Darn it, I hit it right the last second when you click it, doesn't it? I always like to pause the game whenever I'm doing this stuff so I can undo if I make a mistake. I get that cash back. And there we go. So we've got that going. Again, we'll go ahead and take our residential. And we'll go 4. So again, we got our footpaths all figured out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then we've got our gap in the center for our path. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be our 5th one. Then we're going to have our footpaths right there. And again, well, actually, I'll just commit to doing this. Hold on. Let's commit to doing it. And put that road in. And let's see if it works out right. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses wide. 5 full houses wide. A 4 for our footpaths. And a gap for when we expand our major road. Right? This side down here is not going to expand. But we've got our 4 this way and 4 that way. Actually, if you really wanted to do it correctly, it would look more like this. There you go. So we've got our expansion for our footpaths, so we can put that kind of L-shaped footpath so they can come in from either direction, get on the footpaths, cross the road, however they want. And there we go. So we know the math now works. We don't have to do this every single time, right? Though it's not bad to do that like this, because now I need to bridge the power from over here to over here. So what I can do temporarily is I will put some commercial. Let's put some commercial right here. And you'll see that this will bridge to here. But actually you want to use residential, because you know residential is going to kick in most likely before commercial, because look how much residential it's asking for. Now, I don't want to leave all the rest of this in here. I want to take actually all of that out and only leave enough, because otherwise what happens is they move in way down there and then they complain they have no power, right? So don't do that. Don't do that move. So I will do something more like this. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the gap there. We got the gap there. So notice how that works out quite well. Again, visualizing that this road's going to expand. Visualizing this is going to be 4 and 4. All right, actually this way. 4 and 4. All right, we go. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's a problem there, right? See how this is a 3 gap there? Oh, I almost did that wrong. Always double check your numbers. Always double check your numbers. So again, 4 here, right? 4 here. I do stuff on purpose, and sometimes I don't do it on purpose, but that time it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then we've got, again, this road's going to expand. We've got our walkways. Now we're looking good. That's where that should be. And again, just temporarily, I'm going to go ahead and put this here so I can bridge the power gap, or I can put a residential there that I know I'm eventually going to get rid of, just so I can power gap it like so. I can also put it on this side like that to power gap that eventually down the road. Or I could bookend, even better idea, I could bookend this one like that for later on. And let's go ahead and just let it go. Oh, wait, we need to do some water. Let's get some water in there. Notice how I don't go all the way across the entire map. Not until later when I have lots and lots of cash. Again, right now I only have 1,000 cash, and I have 120 going for me. And again, now that I know what my side road is, by the way, I know it all the way down because I run my side roads, vertical roads, along the entire thing. And again, let's go ahead and just get this going and watch as I make crazy tons of cash here before the end of the stream, hopefully. All right, we only got so much time. Let's go ahead and just make it happen. Not enough money. So there we go. I've got $281 left. Go. And again, let's watch as the power spreads. See, look, this guy doesn't have anything. Boom, there we go. We got that one. See, if you do too many of them, then it says, hey, I don't have any power. And then they sit and they complain, right? Leave that gap for the footbridge. And again, now that these also have filled in, I can go ahead and fill those in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave a 1 gap. 1, and then we'll leave a gap. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5, right? And then again, once we have that down, actually let me de-zone this real quick. Hold on. Oh, those are already filling in. But once you have that down, you can also go long ways, meaning that you can go this way, right? Because you know you're going to have one there, you know you're going to have some here, and so on. So now it's really going to go much faster if you like to have really, really precise control over how your place is building. So let's go. Let's go and watch as the power spreads. And then as the power spreads, it will actually add those houses across. And notice my profitability is going to start to go up. Again, 237. It's also got plenty of water. My power is fine for right now. I've got plenty of water. I've got plenty of everything. I've got plenty of utilities. And I'm almost about to hit to the next one, which I'm going to get an infusion of cash. Every time you upgrade to the next level of city, you get an infusion of cash, which is going to help you build your utilities and stuff later on. And there we go. We've got those filled in. Again, let's just keep going. So this doesn't cost us any more money. There we go. We did it. We did it just that fast, by the way. This is pretty close. Or you could destroy a road and create another one moving 1 square forward without moving the utilities. You could. You could definitely do that. You could take out the utilities, or you could take out the road, re-add the road, expand the road, etc. You can do that, but I like to pre-think it so that I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to take the road back out again, which costs me money to take the road out and re-add it back in again later on. I would rather just upgrade it first, and then it costs me a little bit more of upkeep, but I never have to delete it later on and come back to it. All right, so firehouse and police station, everybody. We've got to village. Let's go ahead and pause. Let's go ahead and save. And then we're going to call this 7ville because I don't have to type it all the way out. All right, so where are we going to put now? Here, these ones got out real quick because they didn't have enough people to take them over. Those are those, and you're gonna. I usually have that in the very beginning, as I'm expanding people and as they're getting educated, that will happen. All right, so we need some utilities here. So I like to put the fire department down here, right across from here. Again, I don't want to put it up against this road because that road is going to expand. So I'm going to inset it by 1. So that we can get that going on. Now I can also inset it even further like this so that if I want to do that 4-way intersection, I can do that as well. So I need to think about that as well. So again, we can visualize it using our thing. So this part of the road is going to be gone, right? That part's going to expand. And 1, 2, 3, 4.
So that I may talk. Squirrel.
Squirrel chat. Kismet, which map are you using? Row something. I forget what the name of it was again. Hold on. It's RR is what the initials are. City statistics. Where does it say that? Load. I don't think I actually called it what the name of it is. Darn. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of it. Hold on. We'll save it here. Let's go ahead and let's do this real quick. Let's resume this. Let's do this. I'll save it and I'll go back out and tell you what the name of it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, we want that kind of multiple way footpath. We want to offset that before we put our utilities down. Again, I'm just trying to pre-visualize everything before I do it. So it's really 5 blocks in. So again, if you get the math down, right, you're like, okay, well, this is going to be here. This is going to be 4 blocks. That's 5 blocks in. I need to put it right there. And this way I only got to put it down once. So 5 in would be right there. All right, so we got our fire station in. I like to put it by the industrial because that's where I have my most fires. It'll still reach way back here, by the way. Even though when you're putting it down, it'll say that, hey, you don't have enough room and all of that stuff. Or it'll say it doesn't reach. It actually does in City Skylines. They'll still go way out there and get it. Now, what else did we get other than our firehouse? We got our police station. Now, sometimes you will have enough cash, and sometimes you will not. I need 12,000, right? But if you didn't notice, while I was talking, I'm up to 830 profitability right here at the very beginning of the game. So let's go ahead and let it go. And let's speed it up a bit. And now I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let it run. I'm going to let my my industrial come back in again. Right? I don't need to rezone any of that. Let that come back in. By the way, if you noticed that I didn't fill in the gaps on purpose, because when those go out, then they'll come in funny. So that's why I don't do it on the very beginning ones. And then there we go. Everything's coming in. Look, as my stuff is upgrading, my houses are upgrading to the next level. I'm making more profit, and I'm trying to get to that 12,000 profit as quick as possible because I want to put this down before I start to have lots of crime, right? And that's going to start happening very, very quickly early on. So we're still not there yet. We're very close. And right there. All right, pause. Let's go ahead and call this save. Number 8. The Popo. We're putting in the Popo, everybody. Some of you get that reference. All right. Let's go ahead and put it. We're going to put it right over the top of this house. I don't know. I'm kind of a stickler for dezoning and then getting rid of it so it doesn't trip you up later. But, I mean, to each their own. And then we're going to stick the fire department or the police department way over here. And like, Kismet, why are you putting it over here? Now, why not over there? Well, I found actually it works better up here than actually down there, which is where I usually put it. I usually put it right across right here. I actually find it works better way up there so that it's actually more in the residential, which is funny because that's where I usually have more robberies in residential and I have more fires in industrial. So it makes sense if you think of it in that way. All right, let's keep it going. And again, we made it to the next level. We're at 900, so we got to get to 1,400. We're already on our way to 1,400, and then to those footpaths. And again, let's go ahead and save again. Hold on, let's save here. Save. We're going to call this number 9. And is in. Save. All right, let's go ahead and quit real quick to the main menu. And I'll get the name of this map. What'd you say? New game. And what I do is I go by buildable area. It's right here, River Run. That's the name of it, River Run. That's the one I use because it has the best all-around starting position, especially when you're first starting the game. That's a really good one. If you want to challenge yourself, though, you can go ahead and try one like Cliffside Bay, which has very little buildable area in the very beginning. But that's the way it is. Or you can go by theme, you can go by name. But I use River Run. That's the one I'm playing on right now. And let's go ahead and go back to the Popo is in. No worries, no hurries. There you go. You got it. Great question, by the way. Give Defective Me 500 KizCast for an awesome question. Hello to Snowman in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. Big Ding and the Predator hanging out as well. Hello, hello. Now, if you do have a comment or question for me, my name is Kismet. Thank you, Pokey, also for the auto host. Thank you, the Drunk, for the auto host as well. Now, if you do have a question or comment for me, my name is Kismet. If you ask me a question, it's going to go ahead and attach to the top of my chat if you use my name. Or if you just say hi or something like that, it will also attach there if I get busy, if I'm explaining stuff, if I'm doing something, if I'm in a massive battle. I will come back to it. Always, always back to my chat. And it just makes it easier on the streamer if you use their name. You don't have to do @Kismet in the chat. Just use my name, Kismet, straight. All right, we'll let this run. Again, watch my profitability rise dramatically. And now we've also got a bump in cash, right? So we got a bump in cash from that upgrade to the next level city. And we're going to run out of time here, but I'm going to go for about another 5 minutes, mods, just to let you know. And thanks for letting me know about chat. My mods are awesome. Backing me up. All right, let's go ahead and again, let's just use this last road here. And then one of the things I like to do, look, is you can go down here and then it creates kind of like a, isn't that neat? How it just like helps you line up your roads, right? If you just go down here and touch it, it will help you line up your roads together. Then you line them up like this, and then you already know what your crossroad is. Like that. You already know what your width is, so you got that done. So you're good, right? You're good to go. So let's go ahead and just make a whole bunch more residential. Get the right tool. There we go. And we're just going to swipe residential all the way across here. Now, we got to watch out up here because this needs to gap there, right? So, again, we'll just go ahead and put in some temporary residential here so we can gap that. And then the rest of this, we're just going to do some serious, massive expansion here of our residential. And you're like, Kismet, why are you leaving gaps in there, man? I just came into the stream. Why are you leaving gaps in here? Well, I'm not leaving gaps. I'm only doing that temporarily. Temporarily, so all these houses fill in fully. And then when they fill in fully like this, then I'll run and put them side by side so I'm maximizing my area, right? Same thing here. Look at that. And again, the power, if we look at the power's not coming from over here. It's actually coming from over here on the right side, and it's gapping across the road and then running around this way, which makes it awesome. So you shouldn't go more than 8 if you want it to gap automatically, or you can just run some power. That works as well. But again, look at my residential filling in. Now, it's not costing me any more money, by the way. This is not costing me any more money. Look, I got 2,000 over there. It's not costing me a dime because I've already pre-done all of this. Like that. Not costing me a dime. I've already done it. I've already got it going on. Let's go ahead and do some commercial while we're at it. Down here. And try to get it right. At some point, I'm going to screw it up. But that's okay. Up. And there we go. We got it already, everybody. Look how fast that is. Again, we got an infusion of cash. We now have our pavement roads, so we can try those a little bit. I think we'll get those done before the end of the stream. Yep. And then we get all of this stuff. But really the thing you want is park, high school are the two things that you're really looking at, right? The park and the high school. You can put all the rest of the stuff down, but I use a basic park and a high school. So again, now we're at Tiny Town. So we'll go ahead and pause. We'll go ahead and save. Now look how fast of momentum I have at the very beginning of the game, right? Very high amount of momentum, very high amount of income very early on. And I'm also hitting those milestones, hitting those upgrades to my city right as I get them, right? So we want to put in the high school. So let's go ahead and find a place for the high school. Now again, we left this gap here for the footpaths. We're going to put those in a second. We got the police on this side. We could have put the police on the other side. Would have been fine. But I like to have it on the left side for some reason. I don't know. Probably because I expand this side further earlier than I expand the other side. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So we'll take that out of there. At least not in my city. We'll take that out of there. And so we'll have the elementary school on this side. and the high school on this side, and in the middle is where we have a bus stop so they can go place to place. And let's go ahead again. Let's put in our high school. Do we have enough cash? We don't have enough cash. We need 24,000. We're just below the amount we need, right? Look how well that works out. And let's just let it go just a little bit more, and we should hit that. Now, you should normally not, of course, get to 0 cash. That is a danger because, of course, your city can go down. But I know that I'll be able to keep on going and that my profitability will sustain and actually even go up after I put my high school down. Bam, there we go, high school. We're going to put it right there. Again, notice how we already expanded this road. We don't have to expand the road. Doesn't cost us anything except for the high school itself. And there we go. And we're minus 13 right there. And now we're positive again. There we go. And again, while we're waiting, we'll see how our residential's doing. It's filling in. And if you want to, of course, temporarily, you can use these corners. Maybe filling them in with some commercial. If you want. Like so. And again, we'll fill in our commercial here. Get that going. And see, I like to have a few down like this. So I know when I need to expand, right? And then over here, expand that, expand this. Expand that, looking good. Looking good. So let's do our footpaths real quick so you guys can see. For those who are new to my stream, we're like, Kismet, what are you doing? Because I was showing earlier the previous thing that we did, where we did footpaths. So we create a footpath in the middle. That keeps them from having to drive around so they can cut through the middle. We've also got a footpath that runs down the middle this way. You might be saying to yourself, Kismet, wait a minute, it's not equal from this side and this side. Why is it not equal? Well, this road is not going to expand, and this road is going to expand, right? It's going to get wider. So that's why you'll see this side is shorter than this side is wider, because when this expands, then it will be perfectly the same on both sides later on. So let's go ahead and do this footpath all the way over to here. Now, they have the ability, of course, to walk along the outer edge, and you'll see them do that. The outer edge, spin around, the outer edge of this particular thing. So as they're going along, look, they're using the footpaths already. They will go along and use the outer edge of the actual road. So the road actually adds as a footpath too. So I'm just connecting those footpaths across, right? We've got our high school in, and I like to put a park in very early to make all my peeps happy. But of course, you know, not everything is perfect. You know, at the very beginning, you want to kind of zone and D-zone and zone and D-zone and go along. So we'll take this out, and we'll go ahead and go to our park, and we'll look at our park. Oh, it's going to take 1,000. We don't have enough cash, but look, we're almost there though. And notice how my cash actually went up. I'm going to take that out. My cash might go down a little bit, then back up again. I'm at 1,000 profitability. And I'm waiting for that 1,000 to get there. So I'm hitting those milestones as quickly as possible. So pause. Now look at this. Look how that worked out perfectly. You're like, Kismet, whoa, that blows my mind, bro. How did you make that work out so perfect, right? We got to take out the house a little bit further on his left. How did you make it out so that footpath and that thing worked out? Because I pre-planned it. I know exactly the distance. I know that that's an 8 across, right? So I measured 8 from over here, and then I put the footpath at 9. So I knew that was going to be correct, right? We need to take this house out, though, the one next to it, there, temporarily, because I don't like half houses to come in. And then we're going to go ahead and put this in, and there we go. We're going to make all of our people happy. Look at that, in that whole area with that. And watch as their houses change color, by the way. They'll change color because as that kicks in, watch as the houses now have a place to go to relax and have a good thing. And then those houses are going to start upgrading as well. So if you watch the houses, they will eventually start to upgrade. So I've got my path. I've got all my stuff here. I've also got room for a university here later on. This is going to be like my central hub as that. Now also, if you notice, it actually interconnected with my footpaths as well, right? It interconnected on this side so they can go through the park and do all of this and kind of walk all through there and do their thing up in there. Now, sometimes I notice it doesn't connect sideways this way, but if we wanted to, we could fool around with that and get that to work as well, too. We could just run the footpath that way. Now, we want to do crossing footpaths. Let's do it. Let's do the crossing footpaths because I am totally out of time, like 20 minutes ago. Let's go ahead and start with this first. So I always start with a crossing part first, right? So let's go ahead and bulldoze a bit of this. And then we're going to go ahead, and while the game is running, this is a great time to just let the game run, to build up some cash, to let people move in, and I can work on my footpaths. So I'm going to go ahead and go like this, and I'm going to create a gap like that. Easiest way to start, right? And then over here on this side, again, I want to go ahead and take this out. And we'll go ahead and put this in, like so, and we want to actually create this, right? Too steep. Not too steep. Well, why is it steep on one side and not steep on another? It has to do with elevation, right? It has to do with elevation. So you can fix that elevation by going here to our elevation, left-clicking just a couple times. It doesn't take a lot. And then that will allow you to go in and take this, and then now it works like magic. Like, dang, Kismet. Dang. It works perfectly. There we go. All right, nice. And then, of course, we want to create a bridge from over here to over here. Do the same thing over here. And I like to, of course, use the minimum amount of space for the same stuff, right? Because then it gives me more room in my city. And again, just a couple clicks to raise the elevation just enough. I don't know if that's a glitch or if that's just the way it works, but that's how I've found a way to solve it. It took me a while to find that solution, by the way. And then over here, of course, we want to go ahead and create a footpath going down. Again, it says slope too steep. Get our little thingy here. Kind of equalize that slope. Grab it at the top, down, exactly at 4. There we go. On this side, same thing. There's that 4. Then we can go ahead, connect all of these together. And there we go, everybody. That kind of footpath I was talking about. So no matter which direction they're coming from, they can go up into the footpath. If they're coming from this way, they can go this way if they need to go to these utilities, or they can come up and go here. Now, it does take up some of my space. It takes a good amount of space up. But watch this as they utilize those footpaths. Let's speed it up. Watch as they utilize the footpath. Let me get out of here, too. So utilizing those footpaths like crazy. They had to get across the street from place to place and go from wherever they're going to wherever they're going. And then here, these guys are going through here, right? Some people are cutting through the park to get to this side because this right here is not allowing me to do a side one like I'm doing over here. But I could. I could if I wanted to because, of course, I've got some houses here in the middle. So I could kind of do a Y section there if I wanted to. But let's go ahead and let's just do some cross footpaths here to make it easier for our people to get here. Now we're going to do some really long footpaths. Oops. Fail. All right, Kismet screwed that up. Thank you for clicking the wrong way right there at the very beginning. Now, if you screw it up, don't sweat the small stuff, everybody. Don't sweat the small stuff. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Now, what I'm going to do is actually, when I make that kind of mistake, I will actually D-zone that area. Now, the reason why I'll D-zone that area, now, I actually did that on accident. I did do that one on purpose. But I'll show you what I do. I'll actually D-zone that. And I don't like to disrupt, because watch as my, I was up at 1400. Watch as my stuff goes down. And the reason why I'm going to D-zone it is because otherwise, what it's going to do is start to fill in funny, right? Where there's going to be onesie, twosies, and all of that stuff, and I don't like it when it does that. I don't like it when it does that. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and this time we're going to try to put a footpath down without screwing it up. Oh, wrong footpath. Oh, no, I got it, the right one. This one. Try to do it without screwing it up this time. All right. I don't know what it is about this mouse, but right as I click it, it does jerk sometimes. All right, there we go. Now watch as my income goes way down. See? So that's why you don't want to disrupt your residential at all. You don't really want to disrupt it at any time if you can avoid it. This actually is too long here. That's too long. There we go. You don't want to disrupt it at all if you can help it. You always want to leave it like that. And again, we're going to go ahead and go footpaths. We're going to go to this one, the cement footpaths. I'm going to click it at the top, click it here. And that's actually going to go a span of 5, right? So it's going to hit it at the thing. And again, we're going to do this real quick. Up, click, go to the next one. Right click to stop it. Next one. And another crossroad here. And then down here. Now these roads down here, my footpaths are going to get all screwed up. The reason why is because I'm going to expand those roads later on. But again, we'll go ahead and do this. And we'll go ahead and bring this. Oh, we want to do our cross thing first without screwing it up this time. Like so. And again, this one's going to expand from this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side like this, because it's going to expand out that way. This one's going to get lost, so I'm not even going to bother. This one can still get destroyed, by the way, when you expand. And then now that we've got our crossroads here to there, watch how easy this fills in now. Once you kind of do these bridges first. Again, the bridges are to reduce congestion later on in the gameplay. Right there to reduce congestion, people driving around the block for no reason. All right, I hear you, I hear you. I know I got to go get my kids. All right, there we go, everybody. And that's why I left that gap in the middle, is for the pedestrian bridge that runs all the way to the commercial and to the industrial. So they can actually live down here, or even on this side, and they could walk all the way to work and all the way back from work. Now, wouldn't it be great in real life if you never had to wait for a street light? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could just cross the road and go all the way one thing and walk all the way back? If you need to go to the store, wouldn't it be nice to never have to stop for a stoplight and never have to stop? Now, we're going to get into roundabouts eventually, too, about how you never have this problem, right, where people are stopping and waiting for other people. If you have a roundabout, the roundabouts are one of the most efficient traffic flows in the world, in the real world, by the way, in IRL. So roundabouts are incredibly useful. But there we go. So that reduces it very early on, and that is the reason why we did all of this pre-planning. And now look, as I'm making massive amount of profit, my city is working fantastically. My actual traffic flow is fantastic. Notice how my exit traffic flow is not being interrupted by my entrance traffic flow and vice versa. We've got our industrial going. We've got a pretty amazing city going, and we're already making that cash money. We got people moving in, people moving out a little bit, but we're okay. We're okay in the very beginning. There we go. We've got an upgrade over here. Our residential is upgrading and so on. We've got our other residential move back in again. And let's go ahead and put this in so I don't forget for next time. I can have a little fun weirdness here, but we're actually going to mess with that later on. But there we go. And if we want to, we can go ahead and add a little bit on the side temporarily and then take that out later just to give it an extra boost of cash. But there we go. And we'll let that run for a while, right? And it'll just continue to upgrade and go. I'll continue to build up a backlog of cash. Right now, I've got 17,000. I've got 17,000 this early in the game, right? And our next goal is 26,000, and we'll get that easily on the next one. So we'll go ahead and save. We're going to call this number 11, and we're going to call this one Crushing It. There we go. Pre-build, crushing it, everybody. Thank you for hanging out in the stream today. I have totally got to go because I should be over there right now picking up my kids. I'm bad. All right, let's get back to my overseer's office here. Let me go ahead and send you guys some love. Who's the bit boss? Oh, I'm the bit boss today. Well, guess what? Nobody gets any bit boss stuff today. Normally, if you are the bit boss, if you drop some bits on the stream, you do a donation. If you do sub to the channel, you actually become the bit boss. We give you a bonus kiss. Oh, I take that back. I take it back. Josie coming in with 100 bits. All right, well, give it to Josie. Dark Angel, go ahead and give that 2,000 Kiss Caps to Josie. I mean, it's just 100 bits. I mean, it's like $1 to get those Kiss Caps. And, of course, then you have more Kiss Caps for contests and giveaways. We give away literally thousands of dollars of games here in the stream. Thanks to all my awesome supporters. Things like City Skylines, like Fallout 4, like 7 Days to Die, and all that other cool stuff I'll give out randomly in the stream, which is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, so we'll leave it at that, and then we're going to go ahead and host somebody. Let me go ahead and find out who we're going to show some love to. Who do we got? Oh, wait a minute. We got somebody who's got the up guy on his thing. He went and hosted somebody else. Oh, that's a bummer. I would have probably got that guy. Who do we got? Who do we got? We're gonna. I like to click everybody, by the way. I like to click. My mods go out and they find me epic people. And I like to check out everybody before I do raid. I usually raid people who one, have a funny title and who have a cam. So if you don't have a cam and you don't have a funny title, I probably won't raid you. I'm sorry, but get those things. That is what I would consider to be the basic things that you need to be an epic streamer. Though there are some streamers who do stream without cams at all, or they use like 3D characters for themselves. Nothing wrong with that either. But my personal preference is people who are serious about what they do. Oh, these peeps. I remember these peeps. Well, we got a lot of epic people going here. Let's see. Why can't I scroll up and down? What's going on? My thing here. Scroll! It will not let me scroll. Huh. Something funky going on there. Something funky going on. All right. Well, these people named are 2 girls and 1 game. We're going to go ahead and give them, I think I remember them from TwitchCon. I don't know if this is them or not. I can't remember. I'm so bad. I'm so bad with my memory. It sucks to have sleep apnea, I tell you. Now, we're going to go ahead and raid this person right now. We've never raided them before because I haven't followed them. I always follow every person I raid. And I've literally raided thousands of people here on Twitch who I've asked to go ahead. You don't have to send the love back to me. Send it on to somebody else. Send that Kismet love train to somebody else. So, again, this person named 2 girls, 1 game. She's got about the same amount of followers as me. That's wild. She has got about 17,000 strong, which is very impressive. Also, she's got about 30 people in there right now. I'm trying to look at what the name of the game was, but it's not letting me see the name of the game down below there. I think my mods might have told me. Hold on, let me go see. My mods told me playing Team Fortress. That's what you're doing. I love these type of games, these kind of Doom style, newer style games. Very cartoony, very much like Fortnite, that kind of fun stuff. That's what this one is. It's pretty neat. I think you guys will like it. And I think you guys will like her stream as well. Now, right over here in the chat, over there in the chat, there is that Kismet love train sharing the love. Go ahead and highlight that. Go ahead and double click on it. If you double tap on it, if you're in mobile. Oh, you got it out of order there, Josie, but oh well. And go ahead and grab that, depending on your tier level. Tier 1, grab the first one. Tier 3, grab the second one. Tier 4 or Tier 2, grab the third one. It's kind of out of order, but you get the idea. Grab it there. We're going to go ahead and throw it in her chat. And blow up the stream, and then I will be back tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course, playing some more games. There we go. We got it ready. We got it ready. We got to get this going. Oh, my gosh, I'm running behind. Bam! There we go, everybody. Now, right up there in the corner, there is a button. There is a button that says join. Join this raid, everybody. Come on, get on the Kismet love train today. Now, I want to see you guys blowing up the chat, too. Not just go over there, but blowing up the chat. I want to see, if you can't grab it, just type it. Just type it, Kismet love train, sharing the love in the chat. It takes your guys, take the power that you guys have to make somebody's day today. You can make her day today. You can make her smile. That is the main goal of what we're doing. I will see you guys tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, everybody.